Another award-winning, thought-provoking, action-packed edition of the Tony Basilio Show is coming up next. Tips are always appreciated here at TonyBasilio.com, home of the Tony Basilio Show. You found the Tony Basilio stream at TonyBasilio.com or on your smartphone or tablet. Another thrilling, chilling, and sometimes spilling edition of the Basilio Show is on the way next. Tips are always appreciated here at TonyBasilio.com. Let's do this thing.
WJBE 1040 AM 99.7 FM. Translator W259AB. Powell, Knoxville.
I got a little pep in my step. I got a little spring in my stride. I got a song in my heart. Feeling pretty darn good. Feeling groovy, as they say in the trade. Who did Feeling Groovy, John? Was that Paul Simon? Simon and Garfunkel? Dun-dun, you move too fast.
It sounds like it could have been the Lovin' Spoon.
Lovin' Spoonful.
Herman's
Hermits.
Said that,
you gotta make the good parts last. John Adams is in the studio with the Living Vol fan, and Matt Dixon. Why would your fearless host with the least be so fired up, focused, and prepared today? What do you think is going on inside my alleged pea brain?
You get to ask Tony Balls about his hat here later in the hour.
God, I love him. It's going to be unreal, man. When we break it down scientifically with Tony Vols, you're worried about, who's going to get here and what are we going to do with Bargo and Chapman. And I'm worried about who made that hat and can I get one for my bald head.
What cap are you referring to?
When he was at, I'll show it to you. When he was at UFC Saturday night.
Uh-huh.
Looked like a cross between Jimi Hendrix, Johnny Guitar Watson, any of a myriad of guitar players from the 70s, maybe Carlos Santana back in the day. Tony Vols looked. Woohoo! Matt, it could not have come out now that we've seen this. It could not have come out any better for them, could it?
No, not realistically. No, they probably came out ahead of what you would have expected, even being optimistic. You get Brandon Arvidsson to return. One of the two, premier high school lefties that you signed, got drafted really late to where he's almost certainly coming to school. You had a middle infielder that was all but assuredly going pro, didn't get drafted until really late. So no, it was, and plus you were front and center of all the draft coverage on both networks with both players from the team and highly ranked commits getting drafted just left and right. So no, it was the draft wound up being a real help for Tennessee this year. They came out ahead.
Matt, if you had to predict right now, what do you think the weekend pitching rotation would look like? Just give it a guess.
Tegan Coons, Brandon Arvidsson, and then Evan Blanco, the Virginia transfer, who was their Friday night ace on their 2024 team that made it to the College World Series.
What about the Rutgers transfer?
Oh, well, yeah.
Isn't that crazy, Matt, how you got like 5 starters, how they did that?
Yeah, you definitely. Which I think this upcoming season, you definitely need at least 4, because I think you're going to have a true midweek starter to eat at least 4 or 5 innings in those midweek games. You can't do that, use 7 or 8 pitchers each midweek, because you're going to have a little bit of a roster crunch.
What are we?
I totally forgot about the Rutgers guy, John. That's a good pull. I think I guess he'll have to be in your rotation too.
I think he's your Friday guy. They think he is anyway. But we'll see what happens. I mean, I speak like I've got some kind of authority. They probably would giggle at that. But the other thing I want to get Tony to talk about today is this whole concept of these guys. This the NCAA makes rules, and these people make ways around them. But I want to get him to talk about this DSA deal. So he's going to join here in a little bit.
What is DSA?
So I'm glad you asked that, because it's like a designated I'm going to look this up. DSA, hang on. DSA college baseball.
Well, don't go to too much.
No.
Student athlete.
Designated student athlete. It's a term created by the NCAA, which designated student athlete couldn't sound more communist if you tried. No offense to the NCAA, but y'all are a bunch of damn communists, and you always have been.
It's a strong assertion.
If they're not socialist. But at any rate, but now they have to finally share their largesse with their working class. The term was created by the NCAA as a response to roster size limits. Now, I'm getting this from AI, so,
Whoa.
And the phones are making us dumber than ever. But the term was created by the NCAA as a response to roster size limits and the new transfer portal rule. Essentially, identifies walk-on student athletes who may no longer fit in with the reduced roster limits and are thus designated for, quote, potential removal or cut from the team. So, the DSA definition, and what I don't know, and what none of us know, is how many DSAs can you carry? You had to have a list by like July 7th, but they've got a portal that's open from July 7th through August 5, where a lot of the kids that have gotten cut can transfer, can jump into this window and transfer. What I don't know, Matt, is how many kids you can carry. And what none of us really understand is, let's say like this Sieber kid who Tennessee really liked. Hey, trust me, I'm getting ready to get some football conversation. So hang in there, okay? Hang with me here. Trust me.
I don't trust anybody that says that.
A little trust, a little belief goes a long way around here. What we don't know, though, is how many of these guys will Tennessee carry, and then how do they account for people that get hurt in the fall? Like, let's say we got 5 pitchers now. 2 of them could blow their arms out. It's the nature of it. Then what? Do you have to carry those guys on your 34? Do you have a taxi squad? I think some of this stuff's starting to come in more into view, which is why I wanted to get Tony on, just for kind of a state of the state. And then in a couple weeks, I want to bring him on and crack on him about his weather forecasting abilities. But that's not neither time nor place. But I will get into his hat today. But there's a lot of unanswered questions on this thing, John. I mean, Matt, you follow this beat as a rule. What will they do, Matt, with injured players? Do we know yet?
No, I think they. As far as I know, they count towards a roster spot. And then I want to say the next year they don't. like if you have a guy that say you have a guy who, like you mentioned, blows his arm out, in the off season, but is on that 34-man roster, like he stays on there, but he doesn't count towards the next year's roster, which is a little confusing. And that's why like the Anson Seibert kid, the big, like 6'7" kid from Kansas, like, does he get grandfathered in and into that for this next year, because he obviously redshirted with injury. So it's
John.
I just think with college baseball and just the prevalence of arm injuries, that it's just really difficult to limit rosters for a full calendar year.
So you have to stuff like this, and this is so indicative of the era in which we live with college athletics. Ever since we started this, there's so much uncertainty. Well, what exactly? So when Matt says next year's roster, Matt, do you mean like next season? So my point is, if you lose a guy, he blows out his arm in October, and he doesn't count on your 34-man roster, then could you add somebody to that for that 34-man roster for the following season? Because the season, you haven't played a game yet.
That I'm not sure about. I think once that 34-man roster is set for that season, like, there's no wavering from that. It would be the following season.
But Matt, if that's the case,
I don't know.
We don't understand it. The DSAs too are grandfathered in athletes exempt from roster limits. That's a thing you got to understand. So any of these guys that they've cut, John, that can't find a home, they can park on this deal and revisit them on the DSA list, I think is how that works.
Is that going to be forever, or is that just no?
I don't know. We'll have to ask Tony.
What difference does it make if you're willing to have more players on your roster? Why do you have to have a limit?
Because they want, again, we're back to this. They're communist and socialist. Commies. That's why they come up with the DSA, designated student athlete. Der Commissars in town. Uh-oh. All right, let's go back here. So how important is the SEC Media Days to Greg Sankey? Like, do you think in his mind, okay, he's like the king of this thing, lording over it? You can just picture him. He's very, very into his... Of all the commissioners we've had, Roy Kramer was like, okay, I can take it or leave it. But he was kind of arrogant. The guy, and he's still with us, doing his thing over in Von Orr. I love you, Commissioner Kramer. I always will. Bino used to tease me all the time. You're the man, dude. You had great vision. You're the man. You can dribble. You can shoot. You're the man. Mike Slive was kind of, he was a former NCAA attorney and started in Conference USA and rose to this level and did some nice things. I never got from him that he wanted total fealty from people. This guy here loves him some Greg Sankey and loves being the king daddy of the deal. And John, here's what happened yesterday. So Greg McMurphy, who's now working with the On3 people, breaks a story. And the story is, and it's the talk of everything that's going on in Atlanta yesterday. And the story is that the Big Ten says they leaked to this McMurphy guy, knowing what they're doing. If the SEC does not go to 9 games, we're not signing off on an expanded playoff. Period, end of sentence. But several hours later, Chris Lowe last night on Twitter X, who's pretty well sourced, at the league office and around the league and knows the power players, said expect the SEC to go to 9 games. That's the reportage on that. Now, are those two separate and unrelated? Is the SEC deciding, you know what, we're gonna? You think the Big Ten could push the SEC into that, John? Because it sounded earlier in the week like Greg Sankey was pretty steadfast at staying at 8. It's basically what he said a couple days ago.
Well, I don't think in the end game, it's not that big a deal. But I think the SEC is going to. I think sometimes the SEC listens to coaches too much. I mean, I see why a lot of coaches would want the 8-game schedule because you can manage your schedule. And we're not just talking about the playoffs. We're talking about getting to 6 wins and go to a bowl game. And
keeping your job, basically, at a place like Kentucky, keeping your job, right?
Yeah, he's not keeping his job, though. But
he has for a decade,
well,
though.
I know.
Doing
and
what you're saying.
I give him a lot of credit, but his time, the clock's ticking now.
Yeah.
But I just think, so in terms of the top of the league and the playoff contenders, we were just talking about this off air. Last season was a fluke season. The SEC only got 3 teams in the playoffs, so that's considered. Coaches can use that. Oh my God, the sky's falling. We only got 3 teams. What's wrong? Strength of schedule not emphasized enough. All this kind of stuff. But let's face it, they so easily could have had 5. South Carolina to blow a 17-point lead after losing its quarterback to injury against LSU. Alabama doesn't get blown out at home by Oklahoma. Ole Miss doesn't lose to Kentucky. Look at all the teams you could have had in the playoffs. So that, to me, was a fluke year.
You've got a great point. And, Matt, our argument here in these parts is that 8 SEC games is greater than 9 Big Ten games. Petiti said, don't give me that BS. I don't want to hear that.
Well, he should say that.
He said, if you're not playing 9 and you're going and we're playing 9 and you're not playing 9, you ain't that much better than us. Matt, what about Petiti raining on their parade yesterday? Because he knew exactly what he was doing. Like, that is a total power play. That's walking over to a man who's enjoying his continental breakfast and peeing in his Wheaties. That's what that is.
Ugh.
Sorry.
Golly,
sorry.
Tony, did you have to go there?
What do you think, Matt?
When's the last time you think Greg Sankey had a continental breakfast?
And
I just think Petiti has to take that angle. Like, that's got to be his public statement, and that's his power move. That's one of the few advantages I think, at least kind of, that the Big Ten has, is they can tout that 9-game league schedule.
Hey, John. Well, here's what's funny, Matt. Yeah, I was talking to a basketball source last night who said, Tony, you better get ready and you better prepare people for the fight. These 2 leagues, the only thing that unites them, okay, is the love of money. On everything else, they disagree. And he walked me into this. I wasn't aware of this. He said, you know why this basketball playoff or the NCAA tournament didn't expand this year to 76 teams? Because Greg Sankey wants that. Greg Sankey wants all 16 of his teams in the NCAA tournament. That's what he wants. Last year he got 13 in.
As a commissioner, that's what he should want.
Okay. Tony Petiti said, no. For some reason, the Big Ten wants to keep it right where it is. So they couldn't disagree on that more. He said, get ready. These 2 leagues, as long as they're the ones, and they controls the population and the dollars in where they control it. The SEC has the best teams with the best players, but they don't have the population centers. And so on any given Saturday, some days the Big Ten's going to have games that are more highly watched, and some games the SEC is going to have games that are more highly watched. But they both have tremendously huge television packages, and they're both lapping the field, but they disagree on just about everything, John. It's so interesting that this is the marriage that we've got to, and they're going to fight like cats and dogs about things.
I know, but here's the thing. If we go back through this whole era of college football, it's all been driven by greed.
Yeah.
All of it.
Yeah.
As they say, it's all about the money, and it is. So the SEC and Big Ten wanted to set themselves apart.
Yep.
One of them couldn't do it. Yeah, they're one of the Power 4 conferences. One of them couldn't do it, but together they can. So they've narrowed the field somewhat.
Yes.
So they will be together when it serves their interest. But yeah, they've always kind of needled each other.
Mm-hmm.
The Big Ten has set itself up as this world of great academia, like they're and we're down here in the
and it's a joke.
Of course it is.
Yeah, right.
Where these old yahoos from the South, they get anybody in the school, put anybody out there on a football field and call them a student athlete. But no, they've never. Think about it. All through the years, Big Ten playing SEC in football during the regular season, it's rarely happened. It just doesn't happen. And I think there's a reason for that. But as you point out, they're together in this. They've separated themselves because of the money.
Well, and I like the Big West commissioner yesterday. He come out and said their media day deal. We ought to get a guaranteed spot. Why aren't they cutting us in? They're cutting the ACC in.
Well, he has no leverage though.
But he's saying what he needs to say. All these guys are saying what they need to say. The truth though about this deal is that it's just the beginning, because they're going to continue to fight. Because those leagues, the only commonality they have is they're both damn greedy. And they're shameless. Sankey's shameless. Petitti's shameless. The ADs and presidents are all shameless. No offense to any of them. But they would cut you for a nickel. Danny White has people believing that he's got a 34,000-seat waiting list like they're the damn Green Bay Packers. I mean, what are you kidding me? Or 24,000-seat waiting list. When last night he sent out an email to his ticket holders asking them to buy the remaining tickets that are left in his quote-unquote sold-out stadium. Danny, I'm going to read it here in a little bit on the air. I mean, what are we doing? We'll come back on the other side. Upon the continuance, Tony Valls joins, and the world will never be the same. It's hour number one. John Adams is here on a Thursday. He's in studio. Jennifer Morris, who I interfaced with somebody last night, a gal who knows her stuff, okay? Next move, SmokyMountains.com is where you find her at Keller Williams. Before you buy, sell, or trade your home, you will lock and load with her. And, hey, listen, I put her in front of one of my big swingers in my life last night for something she's working on because I believe in her. And to quote Billy Ocean, I believe in love. And I believe in you, the things you do. It's a great jam. That's a great jam right there. But listen, Jennifer, I believe Laura, she's taken Laura under wing to look at a few things. We believe in her. We believe. We're going to continue on the other side. It's a Thursday. More after this.
Are you searching for a great local coffee? I'm Billy with Grade A Grounds. You can buy our freshly roasted coffee online and support a good cause with every sip. Great coffee, greater causes. Visit our website today, gradeagrounds.com.
Summer is officially here, and the last thing you want during sweltering heat is a broken air conditioner or HVAC system. That means it's more important than ever to keep you and your family comfortable and safe when extreme Tennessee temperatures arrive. Don't ignore the warning signs that your AC is struggling or nearing the end of its lifespan. And if you need emergency HVAC repairs, routine preventative maintenance, or want to invest in a new system, then call the trusted HVAC experts at Pipe Wrench Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. This month, get up to a $1,000 discount when you buy and install a new air conditioner or HVAC system. We make it easy with free on-site estimates for replacements and free second opinions on repairs. And if budgets are tight, we offer flexible payment plans including 0% financing with credit approval. Be sure to ask about our 10-plus year warranties that are 2 times longer than industry standards, so you don't spend a cent on unexpected costs in the future. So call Pipe Wrench at 865-264-8090 or book online at pipewrench.com to schedule your appointment today. And as always, same-day service guaranteed or the visit is free.
Life never stops moving, and between the 30-minute commutes, daycare pickups, weekly soccer practice, Tuesday night yoga, X number of coffee runs, and that weekend trip to Grandma's, you're racking up the miles. What you need is a tire that can keep up, a tire designed for doers, a tire that's going to last, like the exceptionally long-lasting Michelin Defender tire. With an 80,000-mile warranty and the safety and comfort you expect, you can forget all about the miles ahead and focus on getting to your destination or conquering your to-do list. Fleet Tire, I-275 exit 1B at East Woodland Avenue in Knoxville. That's Fleet Tire, I-275 exit 1B at East Woodland Avenue in Knoxville. Fleet Tire.
Jeff Hall here. I'm a partner at Rather & Kittrell Capital Management. And here at Rather & Kittrell, we understand that life is full of transitions. Since 2000, our team of dedicated certified financial planners has been helping individuals, families, and businesses navigate these changes with confidence. From comprehensive wealth management to tailored retirement plans, we're committed to guiding you toward a secure financial future. Ready to take the next step? Visit rkcapital.com or call us at 865-218-8400 to start your journey today. Rather & Kittrell is a registered investment advisor.
Out-of-town law firms have been swarming into East Tennessee lately. From Memphis, Chattanooga, and Birmingham, they've stormed into the area. Wouldn't you rather do business with a local firm? You know, a true neighbor. Marco Scarza and the pros at the Garza Law Firm are just that. There are neighbors and friends that support local causes year-round. The Garza Law Firm works to serve you professionally on criminal matters, injuries and accident matters, and Social Security and disability filings. The Garza Law Firm is here for you at garzalaw.com. The Garza Law Firm. Let us help.
Are you stuck in a dead-end job or ready for a new challenge? Do you feel like it's time to try a new career? Well, it's time to change lanes with TLD Logistics. My friends at TLD Logistics have some really exciting opportunities for you to learn a new skill. With a new 5-acre driving academy that's now under new leadership with all new course material. And the best part, it's absolutely free. What a great deal to set you on the road to higher pay. And TLD Logistics even offers weekly stipends to offset food and gas expenses. In 6 weeks' time, you could complete this course and be in compliance with FMCSA regulations. Then you're ready for the open road of opportunity. What are you waiting for? It's time to change lanes with TLD Logistics. Visit tldlogistics.com. That's tldlogistics.com. TLD Logistics.
A lime is not always just a lime. You see, some limes are lucky. For when a lime joins the salted rim of a crisp, refreshing Tres Dos Equis, that lime is no longer a mere lime, but a wedge of renowned Mexican limón. Muchas gracias, limón. And also, de nada. Enjoy Dos Equis responsibly. Copyright 2024 Dos Equis, imported by Cervezas Mexicanas, White Plains, New York.
Hey there, Basilio family. Jennifer Morris here with Keller Williams Realty. The countdown to fall football is on. Is your fall plan missing the perfect home to watch the Vols make another playoff run? If a new view is on your game day checklist, I'm ready to help you find it. Don't wait until kickoff. Give me a call today at 865-694-5904 or visit my website at nextmovesmokymountains.com. That's nextmovesmokymountains.com, and go Vols.
Josh Collins at Collins Insurance Agency. At Collins Insurance, we strive to ensure our customers receive better coverage along with bigger savings. Our community is important to us. We want to provide exceptional service to our customers. Anybody can provide great rates, great coverage, but can you also get great service? And hey, don't just take my word for it.
What's up, everybody? Zakai Ziegler here. My family turns to Collins Insurance Agency for the best service, coverage, and price.
So don't just go online and get some random insurance. Experience the Collins Insurance difference.
Like he said, experience the Collins Insurance difference. CollinsInsuranceTN.com. CollinsInsuranceTN.com. And hey, their Mama ZZ approved. CollinsInsuranceTN.com. Thank you to Josh Collins and ZZ.
One more thing, Tony. Go Vols!
Preparing food for a big gathering can really take it out of you. That's why you need to call Calhoun's and check out their selection of party platters. Whether you're hosting a party for the big game, a reunion, or just an everyday gathering, a Calhoun's party platter is next level. Choose from Calhoun's always excellent chicken tenders, fly with Calhoun's wings, or boneless wings with a variety of dipping sauces, award-winning next-level melt-in-your-mouth barbecue ribs, or delicious spinach artichoke dip, or get one of each. Plus, if you're doing burgers or sandwiches, Calhoun's has lots of side dishes like spinach Maria, baked cinnamon apples, Smoky Mountain baked beans, or creamy coleslaw. Available in pints, quarts, and gallons. And to finish things off, pick up one of Calhoun's great desserts to go, including homemade cheesecake or key lime pie. Calhoun's, simply your go-to party headquarters. With 9 locations all over East Tennessee, you can order online and just pick it up. Calhoun's, one of the Copper Cellar family of restaurants, along with Chesapeake's, Copper Cellar, Corner 16, Cherokee Grill, and Smoky Mountain Brewery. Eat local, eat good. A reminder for you and yours, we'll be live tomorrow at Calhoun's down in Lenoir City. Guys, I'm excited about Tony Vols. How about y'all? Y'all pumped?
Matt, what do you? What's the best question to ask Tony Vitello, Matt?
How he felt they came out ahead in the draft, and just how fun it is that he gets to sit front and center on the coverage, and watching a bunch of his current and then future potential players get drafted, and just how that's such a great exposure for the program.
The man who got some exposure himself, Tony Vitello, now joining us on your TLD Logistics phone line. AT, welcome into our Thursday edition. I appreciate you jumping in on short notice with us. You kind of completely dominated the weekend. First of all, the hat game at UFC, that was insane. And then you turn right around and, well, you personally dominate the draft with your presence. And then I don't know what you're laughing at.
Yeah.
And then the night itself. I mean, the night itself was just, it's like Tennessee baseball on display here.
Yeah, it was cool to have that many kids go day one, and I think some good matches too. I mean, money is that's a whole other topic, but they have those slots, so it is nice when some of those kids get more than what the slot says, or even better is when there's a good match like Fisher and Pat Murphy. I mean, I don't know why I didn't ever think of that ahead of time. That's an unbelievable matchup. But yeah, the weekend was a grind. Very blessed that those guys think enough of me to come back and do that thing. Greg Amzinger's from St. Louis, as am I. He's really good to me. So just a lot wrapped into one. Got to sit right next to Kid Rock and watch Derek Lewis as one of the most entertaining athletes out there. So it was a lot, but also came with a lot of stress. And, this time of year, the fallout from the draft is, every coach out there has got to deal with the same thing, so I'm not special, but it's a lot. It's definitely a lot.
Well, and here's the thing about your deal. This is always a lot every year, right? But this is a year where they've also thrown some curveballs at you because we're trying to manage this 34-man roster. Matt Dixon had said, and Matt's got a pretty learned point of view, but he said that you guys couldn't have expected after the draft, now that we've assessed, where things are, because you don't know how hit you're going to get from it or how hit you're not going to get from it. It kind of depends on what professional baseball thinks of some of these guys and who they think needs more seasoning, etc.
Right.
In his mind, do you come out ahead of where you thought you would be now that the dust is kind of settled?
I would say body count wise, there's more players than we expected, but it's nice that people are involved and tuned in. I don't say this abrasively. It's just a matter of fact, like they don't know just the average fan doesn't know what we know. Like, we put a ton of time into figuring out what the draft is going to be.
Yep.
And you got some certainties, and then you got some close to certainties, but then every year you get this mixed up pot of you don't know what's going to happen for sure. And, inevitably there's some bad and there's some good in there. And the frustrating thing about it is, as a coach, your nature is to want to be in control of everything. And you definitely don't have a lot of control over some of this stuff. So I think, every summer is so controversial and it's wild and it's exhausting. You don't really know how the summer fully treated you until the next season's over with. It's just a part of your story. As soon as the last game is played, those exit meetings, everything plays into what goes on the next year. And until that story is complete, can't really grade it out fairly. But the point of being on a talk show is to bounce back and forth and throw out opinions and stuff like that.
Well, the DSA deal, right? Like, we were talking about that. Again, moving goalposts, making it up as we go along. You have to have there's a designated transfer period. Is it up to each individual school how many kids they carry? Tony, what can you explain to us, like the DSA? Just explain to us what exactly that is.
Yeah, I mean, first off, I'm not as informed as I should be. There are a lot of goalposts moving, and I always, they'll give you bylaws and things like that. I kind of just give me what would fit on the back of an index card. And my understanding of it is, if you have that label, it basically grandfathers you in so that you're not affected by these rules. You can jump in the transfer portal whenever you want. You can be, let's say you're not on the 34, you can still be active and participate in the games. So it's a little bit of a golden ticket for some kids.
Wow.
But each school determines how many of those they'll allow you to do. And then at this point, each school is coming up with their own number of what their roster will be. And money can affect that, and Title IX can definitely affect that. And then part of it is just the personal philosophy of the administration.
So those DSA kids count against Title IX. In other words, there has to be a female athlete somewhere to account for their appearing on a roster, even though it is sort of a golden ticket item.
Yeah. As you say it out loud, it makes me laugh. Like, what are
That's
we doing?
ridiculous, man. Wow.
What? I don't know. Maybe we lack good leaders out there. I don't know, but it's time to one college sport should not affect another. I mean, they're all a big deal. They're all very separate. Our rules shouldn't be the same as football. Our rules shouldn't be the same as softball. I mean, the pitching staffs are so different in both sports. So it's a little wild, and I think, in the next couple of years there'll be even more changes, and there'll be lawsuits and things like that. But, it's all, again, it's fun to discuss and storylines, but at the end of the day, when kickoff comes for Coach Heupel's first game, they got pads and helmets, and so do we, and see who can do it better.
It's impossible to follow, though. I mean, I do this for a living. You're immersed in it. You're like, Tony, I'll give you a service level deal of this, but I'm not in compliance. So, and look, I totally get that. It's like I'm trying to put my roster together over here. Are you guys done in the portal, T? Because I know those DSA guys are kind of floating around, and there might be one that could sort of help you. Or do you consider yourself done right now?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, we had a kid that was going to visit, opted out of that visit to go to Oklahoma State. There could be something that pops up. I think for right now, we're just trying to be, with the fallout of the draft, be honest with the kids that are on our roster and let them know kind of where they stand. And then, we got a couple guys drafted 15th round and on that, we don't want to sign.
Yeah.
But, anything could happen with that. Or these major league teams, too, could do free agent deals with some kids. Normally there's a quick wave of that, and then there's usually a delayed wave of that, too, because if they don't sign a couple of these draft picks at some point, they may have money left over, and there might be a guy out there they like.
The other thing that goes on, just for the layman that's kind of following along here, the minor leagues used to be twice as big. They don't have as many
Correct.
teams to stock now. And so that's why college baseball looks like an older – Tony told us when that first happened, you're going to see an older, better sport across the board. That's exactly what's happened, Tony.
Yeah, and I mean the SEC has become like an extra minor league division for pro baseball.
Yeah.
And the one thing those scouts like about our league is there's no guesswork. It's almost like going and scouting a game at the Smokies Park. What you see is what you get because of the crowds and the stakes and the media coverage, and then ultimately the talent. The scouting reports too. So what you see is what you get. And there's other high-level programs too. But the league has become like a secondary minor league system to them. And those guys don't want to say it out loud. And I don't like being too combative, MLB versus college. But the best development system for Major League Baseball players is college baseball. Especially when you kind of take away the freaks, Josh Hamilton, Bryce Harper. Those guys take up a lot of media attention, but they're very abnormal. If you go with the bigger chunk of, Mike Minor and Strider and a lot of the Christian Moore, these guys, college baseball is the very best way to develop Major League Baseball players on the whole.
Well, and we're starting to see more and more of these guys. Like I was listening to my boys in Philly on the High Hopes podcast, and they're talking about Gage Wood maybe getting an appearance in the Phillies bullpen here. Phillies need some help.
So now that it's
go ahead.
Now that it's over for the Phillies, we went up against Gage twice, and he looks like a guy that could. If a barroom brawl broke out, I think I'd stand behind him. He'd handle himself just fine. I really like the way he competes. I wasn't that excited about where he was supposed to go in the draft. I was a little surprised by that. But the fact he went to the Phillies, I like that a lot for what you said. Put that guy in there now. And then they also took the Bowker kid from Vanderbilt.
Yes.
And I think Bowker can go help their bullpen. Both those guys have a very unique look. And then again, if they competed in our league the way that they did, and Homeboy pitched in Omaha, they're ready for a big league game. They are.
And the way that kid comported himself after he threw that no-hitter, when he looked right over there and said, hey, there's a guy on Murray State's team I train with, and I want you to know something. He's a hell of a player with a great future. It wasn't even about him. I was like, sign me up for that dude. Plus, he's just a freaking warrior. Matt Dixon, jump in here. Tony Vitello blessing us with some time on today's edition. Go ahead, Matt.
Yeah, talking about how the MLB looks to the SEC and things, and you kind of joked about it maybe a time or two during the draft, but are there certain traits and qualities that college coaches look for when evaluating players, I guess high school, but even portal guys, that maybe pro scouts don't value and vice versa, as in addition to just the long-term projection that pro ball looks at?
Yeah, well, I think, for us, we want to win games. And so you value, guys who are ball players, and could win you a game. They're not necessarily prospects. But the highest valued player is one that is a prospect, like a Willits. He's got tools. He's a switch hitter, but also he knows the game very well. He's a winner. He does a lot of stuff that you spend all these hours trying to coach your guys on how to do this and that base running. He's already got all those instincts and those things. So that was the magic combination we saw pop up a lot in the first round, is tool set plus savvy or feel for the game. But I think we would kind of slide more in favor of like, hey, we think this guy can win us games. We don't care that he doesn't throw that hard or he's not that tall or, he doesn't have that much power. We think he can win games. But I think, for the most part, we are able to get guys like Cam Appenzeller, who is both of those things, but he's just not physically ready yet. He's a little thin. He hasn't grown into his body completely. And so we're given the benefit of inheriting a kid like that we can develop to where he's physically mature, those guys will be knocking down his door like crazy when it's his time.
Before I bring John Adams in here, obviously you guys have a story to tell because you keep getting transfers that they are seen in one way, and then after a year or 2 years in your system, they're seen in quite another way. We had Ben McKee on with us yesterday, and he was talking about the fact that my guy from up there in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania, went up to the Cape, had 3 starts, and was completely lights out, and wanted to hurry back so he could train. Like, he just wanted to start 3 baseball games, and then he wanted to hurry back so he could get on Q's program, get with the program, and get in the next season ready physically to compete a year older. Tony, is that part of your pitch when you're talking to those later round picks, that kid from the MAC, the two-way player, who may be leaning one way or another? Do you guys, because you've got to recruit your roster, you've got to keep, like you were talking about on another show, you got to keep the wolves at bay in your league that are trying to torpedo you and blow a hole in your ship while you're out there sailing on the seas. And yet you also have to recruit these guys that are later round picks. I mean, you really have your hands full here, but is that part of the pitch to them?
Yeah, I mean, I think the big thing kids need to decide when they're going to commit to signing in the draft. And again, MLB's been good to me, and I like seeing kids make it to the big leagues, but it better be if you sign.
Where'd you go there, Tay? Yeah, go ahead. You went out on me. Go ahead. Say it again. When you sign, go ahead. Say what you were saying there. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, you need to either be out of eligibility like Hunter Ensley, or you need to feel like you're major league ready. Like, I can go do this. Like, a Gage Wood is definitely major league ready. Put me in a Phillies uniform and let me go do it. Or I can get there in a couple years. But if you're not prepared completely, I think our place can help you with that more than any other. So it's frustrating, and we all are guilty of this, but sometimes you make emotional decisions, or you make, haste makes waste is a phrase for a reason, or fear. That's my least favorite one. And, we don't prefer one agency over another, but there's one in particular that maybe represented one of our infielders this year that completely removes fear from the equation. So you see guys like Max Scherzer turn down from the Tigers a while back, a massive contract. Well, he doesn't have fear of what if. He knows he's good, so he's got talent. And so, we just want guys to make decisions for the right reason. And if you take fear out and you take your time and you make a rational decision with actual facts, I can stand by that decision any day of the week. But it's a very emotional time, and a lot of stuff gets rushed into, and then some guys, fear is something that people use to prey upon them and maybe make a decision that they'll regret later.
John Adams, jump in here with Tony Vitello, who's with us on a Thursday.
Tony, I know it's hard to gauge at this juncture. You talked about it earlier. You don't know how it'll all play out by next season, but it seems as though potentially this could be one of maybe your deepest pitching staff based on all your acquisitions. But I wonder about the challenge of maintaining that depth when you go through fall practice and there are these roster limitations. And I'm certainly no expert on this. So what if a pitcher, a starting pitcher, for example, in the fall blows out his arm, heaven forbid, is he still part of your 34-man roster? Do you get to add somebody? Do you know how that plays out?
I believe December, the last I heard on this was December 1st was when we were going to have to declare what that number is and who they are. But I believe, this fall will be a little bit easier in that category because, the House settlement ruling and the judge kind of had the foresight to know that a lot of these kids were going to be left out to dry. So we do have this kind of grandfather DSA deal where we can scale down or kind of slowly down the escalator instead of all of a sudden just having 34 guys. and making scrimmaging very challenging.
Potential of this. What about the potential of the staff?
The potential of our pitching staff coming up?
Uh-huh.
I think you got a lot of guys in there that got something to prove, which is what I like. And you got a lot of guys that'll bow up and be confident. And our bullpen was just not good enough this last year. And maybe that was something we could have done better, maybe something they could have done better, but that's just a fact. And so it was something we wanted to address. And I do think there is some depth there. But the best way to separate yourself from that depth is to bow up to the challenge and go get what you want, not ask for it, not beg for it, not look for guarantees or anything like that, but to go do it. I mean, the best people in this world, whether it's business-wise or sports-wise, are usually people that weren't handed a whole lot. They go do it. And then even in the case of like the Holiday brothers, those kids are so spoiled with baseball knowledge and baseball exposure. It's unbelievable, but they don't act spoiled. And it's why they are who they are. They go about it in the way of almost like a walk-on would, and yet they've got all that other stuff mixed in. So there's your magic combo on how that's going on in the household. And now that I talk about it, it kind of reminds me of a household that's relevant to Tennessee with the Manning family.
Yeah,
that's
a really
good analogy.
It's a good analogy, and T, the thing I would imagine in your spot, one of the toughest things, right, is when we saw that spate of guys that were kind of transferring out, and this is a spot they put every coach in, and it was just like overnight. Okay, here's the settlement, there's the parameters, and then you got guys, veteran guys, that are eligible for the draft that have high hopes going into it, and who knows. But you wish everybody well. But then the pro game kind of looks at them and says, hey, you need to show me something next year. You need some more seasoning, whatever the term is, however you want to put that. And so I'm thinking of a couple guys like a Chapman and a Bargo, and I'm not doing my job if I don't ask you about those guys. It seems like looking at their situations, they're kind of in limbo right now. When do you plan on addressing that? When will we see some sort of resolution toward with those guys?
Yeah, the old tweet, "I'm coming back," or
something.
Anything?
Tell me something. Yeah. Tell me something here.
I'm just laughing at this. Well, I mean, I think again, there's still a period where guys could still sign a pro contract, and so. I don't think anything's definite. That's why I didn't mean any disrespect to like some media members. I'm good with them, like texting or we've chatted off air and things like that. But how does it look for Arvidsson, or what about this guy or that guy? Like, you don't know until you know. So I don't have a lot of comfort until it's August and we show up and everybody's there. I mean, crazy stuff happens. In junior college, I showed up first day of practice, and the coach took roll call, and he kept saying Ryan Howard's name. And Ryan Howard wasn't there. He went to Missouri State instead of going to junior college, and it literally went down that way. And obviously he goes on to be the superstar that he was. But, in the case of those two guys you're asking about, I think you're right. It is still in limbo a little bit. And I talked with Reese yesterday, and you couldn't have a more well-respected, more liked guy in the clubhouse. So, obviously, everyone would welcome back with open arms, but I think he's still trying to digest what went on in the draft, and you get these calls like, hey, we're about to take you, or we might take you. Mm-hmm. It's incredibly emotional for these kids, and if you could peel back the curtain and see what's going on, it's just nuts. Andrew Fisher got a call, so he put on his suit, and the whole crowd that you saw on TV was getting excited. Well, the team didn't take him, and so he's disappointed, and then 2 picks later, he's elated, he goes off, and so it's pretty wild time.
Do you make calls for those kids, T? Do you try to help them find landing spots in the pros or even in the college game if the time comes?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I love the way the Royals asked the question was, you're starting a local team at the YMCA, and you're going to compete for a whole season. Who on your team are you picking as a captain? Like you get one captain and they're going to be in charge of that team that you're just kind of throwing together. And my answer was Hunter Ensley. And they ended up signing Hunter Ensley. And when it gets to that, you know, Justin Ammons, there's other examples. We've built up a lot of credibility, I think, with scouts just by being accessible and also being very honest. And then also I do think, like with Q, Elander, Frank, like these kids are prepared. So these teams like what they're getting from us. And there's a pattern too, like the Rockies. Obviously, if they got a chance to go get one of our guys, they want to do it. And there's other organizations too that feel very comfortable with our players. Q used to be a strength coach for the Cardinals. So it's not the reason why Liam Doyle's worthy of the 5th pick, but there's a lot of conversations and there's hours and hours spent on the phone going up to the draft. Garrett Crochet might have got picked like 30th if the White Sox wouldn't have taken him. But they wore us out on the phone to find out exactly who Garrett Crochet was. And it worked out. I got to see Garrett down there in Atlanta for a few minutes. He's a big old dude. He's happy with life right now.
Buddy, he has blown up. And you called that. You told me when he was a kid, you said you wait till you see the future that's out in front of this kid. And, Tony, I'm glad to know that I'm not the only guy that got a text back from leave me the hell alone over the weekend. So I'm glad to know that I'm not the let's bring Matt Dixon's got another question for Tony Vitello, who blesses us on a Thursday. Go ahead, Matt.
Yeah, well, just going off that, you know, all those guys drafted on day one kind of went quicker than where they were projected. So I guess that says a lot about the program. But, you know, Keelan goes to the Giants. You know, they had drafted Maui Ahuna a few years earlier, a middle infielder transfer from Tennessee. You mentioned Fisher going to the Brewers. They just selected Blake Burke the year before. It seems like those organizations might not make that go to that well again if they didn't like the early returns from that. Did you or anybody at Tennessee have conversations about those guys and just those organizations that came back for Tennessee guys again?
Yeah, and I think the Giants were close with a lot of guys, so they put in a call. And I think what they want is a little more killer on the field. And so it's interesting. As a kid, you probably watch that draft and you're like, I'm better than that guy, or I can't believe this guy went here. Well, you're not in the room with those guys, with the organizations. You don't know exactly what they're looking for. And yeah, the old best player available is easy to say. But if you're trying to build a culture, it can be important to talk to the coaches and talk to the kid and realize Gavin, even though he doesn't wear it on his sleeve like Liam, he's kind of got that killer attitude that the Giants are looking to add, you know. And then the Brewers, they have faith in, you know, the development of our hitters and, of course, what guys do in the weight room with Q. But I'll tell you what, like, once you dive into who Fisher is, he is a match made in heaven for Pat Murphy. Those two guys might put on the boxing gloves and spar one of these days. So yeah, there's some things to go on. Will Mabry got injured last year, but I think he'll eventually make it to the big leagues with the Diamondbacks. They liked him so much. The next year they took a lefty from our program that I don't think there's any way that kid gets drafted unless, you know, there wasn't that continuity or that track record with Will Mabry.
I can so see Murphy and that maniac from New Jersey. Whatever. That kid's a total. When we had him on, Tony, that kid is a total, complete maniac. I can see why you loved him. So that home run he hit that night against Wake Forest, that will never be forgotten by the living fan. But John Adams has a serious note for you, and then I want to close with you on a light note. But go ahead, John.
Yeah, while Tony's with us on air, I wanted to give a shout-out to Colonel Dave Beck. He's been deeply involved with UT baseball for a long time. One of the most accomplished people I've ever met. If you look at his resume as a Marine, as an attorney, as a physical fitness phenom, he's really struggling right now with a myriad of illnesses, and I'd just like for people to pray for him. Anybody that knows him knows what a fighter he is, but he's really up against the odds right now, and I just wanted to mention him.
And Tony loves him. Tony, one of the first times we interfaced was up there at Marcos Garza's law firm when you had first got here, and he was team chaplain, or I guess your second year or whatever. If you can, speak to the impact that guy's had in your program.
Yeah, I mean, he's a machine. I think just impact on anything he's done, whether it's in the field of law or I know mentored Marcos and just everything he's done, whether it be in the military, at the baseball field, he's a machine. And it's kind of ironic. We were talking about guys not wanting stuff handed to him and just going out and do it. He is a self-made legend and continues to be that way. And it's unfortunate the circumstances are what they are, but you know, our time comes and he's probably beat so many different illnesses and different forms of adversity the last couple of years. And every day he's on this earth, it's a better place. And heck, he's out of the hospital, and then the next day he's at Lindsey Nelson Stadium coming to the game. And then, you know, unfortunately some other things have come up and he might have to check back in with the doctors. And then next thing you know, he's at a game or he's sending well wishes to our players. So just a model citizen, and like I said, a self-made legend is the easiest phrase that comes to mind.
All right, Tony, so some of us, like Colonel Dave Beck, don't want things handed to them, and some of us do. Tony, you've ignored countless texts, and now I've got you on the air. Now, your hat and your look the other night, you remind me so much of my favorite guitar player from the 70s. We could go if we went African-American Johnny Guitar Watson, but I'm going to go with a Caucasian by the name of Todd Sharp out of Cleveland, Ohio, who owns his own amplifier, has his own line of amplifiers, but has his own store in Nashville. You ought to go in there and check in on your brother from another mother, the great Todd Sharp, who's close to 70 years old. I'm going to send you some photos of Todd Sharp rocking his hat back in circa 75. I want to know right now, because you won't answer me. Where did you get that hat? Somebody told me, a little birdie, that you got that from somebody who custom makes them in Nashville. And could Tony Basilio borrow that for a future gig? I want to rock that hat, T.
Tony Basilio can definitely borrow the hat. I've got a small head. I'll warn you on that. I got a pinhead. But you can definitely borrow it. It was not from Nashville. It was from another country. It's from Mexico. And
it's cool looking, dude. That hat is insane. It's got so many colors. It's got, dude, you looked.
I wasn't planning on wearing it in the into the arena, other than walking in. And my buddy's like, "No, you got to leave the hat on." His wife said the same thing, so I left the hat on, and yeah.
You went viral. You hate social media. That's my favorite thing about this. You despise social media. You went freaking viral. You went viral with that hat. In fact, you gave a great target to Derek Lewis there.
Yeah, so I was so excited because I knew I thought he might actually take his shorts off, but I wasn't happy to see his caboose. But I was happy. My buddy, he then posted it on social media. He was the only guy with his phone out, and he nailed that shot. And he might have been the only one in the whole arena that nailed it like that. So, yeah, it was pretty awesome. The whole night was fun. I walked in and saw Sean Strickland, and I'm not very good at the act as if. I don't like bothering people.
Right.
But I think Sean thought I was one of his buddies, and he just didn't recognize me because I was like, "What's up, man?" Like we were supposed to be, pals, and came over and chatted with him a lot. And he's as outspoken in real life as he is with a camera on his face. He's a piece of work.
On the way out, Poirier and the BMF title, the trilogy, does he get it done on his way out the door, which would be a really incredible thing this weekend?
Yeah, it's a lot of pressure to perform in your hometown. Like Derek Lewis, when he fought in Houston, lost. It's a lot of added pressure. But Dustin Poirier is built a little different, and I don't think he's going to lose when he knows it's his last fight. He's going to be with his family after that. Great family man. And being in Louisiana, where he's from. I just don't think. And the other part of me is, as I try and educate myself on this sport that's pretty fascinating, I think knockouts can really affect you. And Taporia got Max Holloway really good last time, and it wasn't that long ago. So you got Poirier, who's as experienced as anybody, and yet he's really fresh. And I don't think Holloway's that fresh, and I also think that last knockout could play a factor as well. So I love Max Holloway. There's some special athletes that come off the island of Hawaii this weekend.
No doubt about it. I mean, shout out to my man Shane Victorino, the flying Hawaiian. AT, you're my man. Anything else you'd care to add here on the way out? Any other shout-outs? And how do you rank your appearance on here? I don't know, 5 hours on Major League Baseball television, ringside down there at Bridgestone and going viral, and 35 minutes on here. Where do you rank them?
I'm going to go. The draft was, I love it. I missed Dean Curley getting picked. I was off air because I was having to talk to an agent. That deal was a lot more stressful than hopefully the way it looked. UFC was incredible, but at the same time, I was worried about knowing the guys for the draft. I had to study on the flight there on the way back. I did see Albert Hainsworth there. He's the UFC fan, so it's good to see him.
How about that?
But all that stuff came with a lot of stress. So I'm going to rank this number one. Even though my energy level's very low, I feel like I mentally have been beat up by Derek Lewis. I'm going to rank this number one. You didn't ask any rude questions.
In other words, I didn't do my usual ambush. There wasn't any setups today. I didn't challenge your coaching.
No pitching changes.
No pitching changes.
Yeah, I ran into an Alabama fan yesterday.
Yeah.
He just said, "Hey, whatever. I know Tennessee baseball, and I cheer for you guys, even though I hate Tennessee and Alabama." I said, "You want to know what? If SEC fans saw what coaches go through, like during recruiting and stuff, as long as it's a coach that's putting in some work and has his stuff together, no SEC fan would ever boo, ever, 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 if they saw behind the scenes what all goes on. But that's not reality."
Except SEC fans that grew up in Philly. I booed them all, bro. I booed Schmitty. I booed Michael Jack Schmidt. I booed Randall Cunningham, who's my favorite player of all time. I booed Dr. J.
Donovan McNabb.
I call him McSad. So, yeah, I booed him. I booed them all, man. That's just a way of life, Tony. Embrace the booing. Embrace the jeering. No?
I'm a big believer. If you paid for your ticket, you paid for the right to do whatever you want, as long as it's not going to get you thrown out of the deal. I believe in that. But I also am a big loyalty guy, as all Italians are, and you're either in or you're out. And, there's been a few days where I'm like, if a couple of the people said what they said in our stadium right now, I'd probably be going to jail.
You're not afraid to call people out too, T, which is you are who you are, and it kind of is what it is.
Tony, do you have any UFC skills yourself?
Not good ones. I mean, Hot Sauce will he'll pump me up in front of the guys more than he should, but
Does he do that thing what's his face when they who was the guy? The DuPont guy. He would wrestle around on the floor, and the wrestlers would let him beat him. Does he do that with you? Let you win?
Yeah, I mean, he definitely takes it easy on me. I mean, it's scary when he throws a punch or a kick, but I'm nowhere near able to grapple really. I think I know more than the average Joe, because it's crazy how much those guys know.
Those guys could really hurt somebody.
What would be your best self-defense move if you're attacked, Tony?
You got to keep people don't move their head. They leave their head and their chin out there in the middle. So the biggest thing would be to move your head. And also, if anything, what the guys I've jumped in there with, the infielders, I was an infielder, the infielders have good feet to move around a little bit. And a lot of times those guys in UFC, their feet get tired and they lose their footwork, or they're fatigued or they get calf kicked or something like that. And that ends up leading to what you see up top with the hands and the head. So,
T, you're my man. We kept you on here way too long. Shout out Sean Barrow. I'm sorry, Sean. Love, T. Have a Dwight Gooden.
You too. Y'all take care.
All right. I think he took a shot at me. Something about no rude questions. Tony, I've never asked you a rude question. Damn it. Do that to me. Hour number 2 continues. We're way late. I'm sorry. Let's keep it legal. That's not illegal. What am I doing here?
WJBE 1040 AM 99.7 FM. Translator W259AB. Powell, Knoxville.
Hey, Tony B listeners, I'm Billy from Grade A Grounds, a UT grad bringing Knoxville a better way to raise money. We roast premium coffee fully branded for your team or cause. You keep 40% of sales, and we donate 5% to local needs. Let's win on and off the field. Visit gradeagrounds.com to start your winning fundraiser today.
Living Vol fan, we're on the countdown to kickoff, and that means you need to make sure you are game ready. Head to Alumni Hall to get this season's Tennessee sideline apparel. Nike, Columbia, Peter Millar, and more. Shop top brands for the entire family. Hats, Yeti, tailgating gear, and so much more. If it's for the Tennessee fan, Alumni Hall has it. Spend $150 and get $10 in Hall cash rewards. Shop at alumnihall.com. Download their app or shop any of their locations in Knoxville, Murfreesboro, or the Tri-Cities. Alumni Hall, the ultimate shopping destination for Vol fans.
It's the hottest post-game show on the planet. Garza Law. Fifth quarter fan reaction. Fan reaction. As soon as the final gun sounds, we're live.
Tony Basilio, and we are live once again with Chad Stockton of FC Alliance. And Chad, you're out there on the field, 100 strong here in Knoxville. Talk to me. What's been going on with FC Alliance now that the weather's heating up?
We're out here for the first night of the boys' tryouts. We have over 400 kids that'll be here tonight. So a lot of exciting times right now for us. Our club team started at U9 and we go all the way through U19. We have over 1,000 kids that come from Chattanooga from the Tri-Cities that make all our teams and make this club what it is today. So we're excited about it. We finished the younger kids a couple of weeks ago. We just finished the girls last night, and now we're on to our older boys program as we speak right now.
And we're blowing and going in the Tri-Cities. Tell me about it.
We started FC Alliance North 1 year ago, and coming off the first year, we are the largest, most competitive club up in the Tri-Cities area. We just finished our tryouts last night. Looks like right now we will be well over 400 kids for the upcoming season. So great things happening up there. We've put our boys into some really good regional leagues. So we're excited about what the future holds for them and also our girls programs.
If you want more information, check them out at fcallianceknox.org. That's fcallianceknox.org. Chad Stockton, keep growing the beautiful game here in East Tennessee.
Absolutely. Thanks, Tony.
Hi, I'm Jim Simpson, owner of Simpson Meats. When's the last time you grilled a really good burger or steak? One your friends still talk about. Our goal at Simpson Meats is to make that happen every time you have a cookout. All of our cuts of meats, steaks, burgers, briskets, and pork are always fresh, flavorful, and sustainably sourced. We are family owned, so we know the importance of knowing how and where your food is raised. We have been putting quality first since 1888. Visit our butcher shop off Lovell Road or online at simpsonmeats.com.
Tony Basilio along with the great Mark Griffin. And we're here to talk about our friends at Performance Medicine. And Griff, their slogan, stay educated, stay healthy. That's you.
Wow. I really like to think that, Tony, and I'd like to give Dr. Rogers a lot of credit because I definitely want to stay educated and healthy, and knowing that he's putting the time and effort in to make sure of my care. I want to encourage your listeners to put the time to learn and become educated and get to know Dr. Rogers and see if it can help with your health as well.
And there's a really, really easy way to do that. In fact, they've got their own YouTube channel. You can see Dr. Rogers for himself with his staff staff. It's called The Performance Medicine Show over at the Performance Medicine channel over on YouTube. Also, more information at performancemedicine.net. To our friends in North Knoxville, a brand new location over in Fountain City, now accepting patients. So many ways to reach Dr. Rogers. And like they say, stay educated, stay healthy. Performance Medicine, online, performancemedicine.net. TB here for Cedar Bluff Plumbing, a live and local company that's been serving our area for over 32 years and counting, because every customer counts, and I mean, no job is too small. Cedar Bluff Plumbing just voted #1 by City View magazine because multiple plumbing experts are on call to serve all your plumbing needs. Chances are there'll be a plumber in your area when you call, and they won't send some salesman to your house. You're going to get a high character, trustworthy, highly trained plumber who will serve you. Not like some of these guys that look like they came off the set of America's Most Wanted. Cedar Bluff Plumbing is Basilio tested and approved and will go the extra mile for you because Chucky Mack is a servant of the people and my consigliere to the throne, celebrating over 32 years of serving living volunteers. Cedar Bluff Plumbing. Call 588-4448. That's 588-4448. Cedar Bluff Plumbing.
Attention Vol fans, are you tired of complicated, clunky fleet technology that makes your job harder? Say goodbye to frustration and hello to Connexial, your hometown partner in logistics. It's time to rev up your operations with next level fleet management from Connexial. Connexial is here to keep your business on track with technology that works as hard as you do. Our game-changing ELD gives you more than just hours of service. With AI-powered dash cameras and real-time asset tracking, you'll have eyes on the road, cargo, and your fleet from anywhere, anytime. And the best part, our friendly US-based customer support team is just one phone call away. No more long wait times or frustrating tech talk. Just real people with real solutions. With Connexial, you get a professional team you can trust and easy-to-use products that keep you on the road. What do you say, Tony?
I'm ready. Make the smart move and call Connexial today.
865-888-6920. Learn more at Connexial.com. That's Koneixial.com. Drive life with Connexial and go Vols.
Chilio here, and you know my friends at Carnes Motor Company started with a dream over a quarter century ago. I met Rob and Brian back when I still had hair. And they were working at a huge dealership in West Knoxville. But they told me back then they wanted to sell cars on their terms. And I wanted to do radio on my terms. Their terms, just like my terms, are ultimately your terms. In both cases, you're the winner. A Car Guru's National Award winner with a 5-star rating on all sites, just like our Vols. Everything about buying a car from Carnes Motor Company is no hassle. They specialize in high-quality pre-owned vehicles between the $5,000 to $25,000 range. And if you need to sell a car, they'll either buy your car or they'll help you sell it. Carnes Motor Company also has a top-notch service department. Therefore, every vehicle is rigorously inspected and serviced prior to delivery. So you're guaranteed to get a quality pre-owned vehicle every time. If you need a place for service, they've got you covered. Come be a part of the Carnes Motor Company family and tell them you heard about it from me. Online at carnesmotor.com. Oak Ridge Highway, 1 mile past the Carnes light. Carnes Motor Company.
Yeehaw! Some people say betting online is still the wild, wild west. But with the VIP Play app, you're riding with the best. VIP Play app is hotter than a $2 pistol packed with flair. Live hosts and features finer than a frog hair. Send your old betting problems out of town with a slap. You'll be betting sharp as a tack on the VIP Play app.
Don't be a better, be a better with VIP Play today.
Download VIP Play today or head to VIPPlayApp.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-88-99789. Must be 21 plus and located in Tennessee to bet.
Jeff Hall here. I'm a partner at Rather & Kittrell Capital Management. Life is full of transitions. Planning for retirement, managing investments, or navigating major life changes. Here at Rather & Kittrell, we're here to guide you through every step. Visit rkcapital.com or call 865-218-8400 to start your journey toward financial clarity today. Rather & Kittrell is a registered investment advisor.
TB back with you on your Thursday, ladies and germs. I want to remind you, tomorrow we're live. We're down at Calhoun's Marina, Lenore City, and I want to tell you this: on a Thursday or Friday night when the live music's pumping down there, man, the music be pumping, and the folks be bumping.
Are you performing?
That's a little Tower of Power we did last week, and will next Thursday, but not tonight. But I do want to remind you that, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, we'll be out there tomorrow. We're going to have a celebration of Tennessee sports tomorrow. I'm not going to reveal my topic till we get there tomorrow, but we're going to have a lot of fun tomorrow. Tomorrow's show will be a lot of fun. So, John Adams is here. We're going to go to our TLD Logistics phone lines. Matt Dixon is in the house. John's presented by our friends at our friend Jennifer Morris, Next Move, SmokyMountains.com.
There's only one of her, but it seems like there's more.
Yeah, I don't know how she does what she does. I mean, I interfaced her with somebody last night at like 9:30, and she was going like the freaking Energizer Bunny. I mean, she was going crazy. You should have heard her. She knows her stuff. I know you got a great deal of respect for her as well.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to the phones. Matt, what'd you make of the Tony Vol segment and Tony's thin-skinnedness and likes to yell back at fans and hates people like me that boo people, and what'd you make of it?
Great appearance as always. Always informative and entertaining.
I love that John gave some love to Colonel Beck. That's who John is. One thing about John, people think that he's kind of this wiseacre guy, you know, and always like trying to entice you over, and he's got the kind of the mallet behind his back. He's going to hit you over the head with it, you know, with the cheek. Come here, kid. Boom.
What are you talking about?
That's kind of how I view you.
Oh.
John's really a sweet guy at heart. And a good man at heart. He really is. We'll go to the phones at 865. What's the matter?
What? Yeah, that didn't sound very genuine.
Huh? You're in the studio with me? What do you mean it doesn't sound genuine? I mean it.
Go to the
what? No,
callers.
wait a second here. I mean it. But you're a lot like I am. You will not take a compliment.
I'll take a compliment.
All right, you're a hell of a columnist too. The one thing that you do that I would love to figure out how to do is you can say in one word what most people can say in 10. That pithy thing that you do is so hard. I am so damn long-winded.
Yeah, but you just got so much stuff going on mentally. I mean, it's just all, and it has to come out.
That's a rip.
No, I don't mean that in a bad way.
That's a rip.
No, there's a lot of stuff going on up there, and you just got to get it out.
I know we got some callers that got a lot of stuff going on up there. Let's go to our phones and get our first call in. Hello and welcome. You're on the air.
How you doing, Tony?
Billy, how we doing, buddy?
Morning, bud. One of the members of Mount Rushmore left us.
Say it again, Bill. Say it again. What'd you say, Bill?
One of my favorite celebrities that's 70 and over passed away.
It's always uplifting when Bill calls in. How do you follow up that great hour of conversation, that hour of power? You bring Bill in. Okay, Bill, who is it?
Connie Francis.
Connie Francis, who starred in Bleach, Blanket, Blango back in the day. Is that right? That wasn't her?
Who's sorry now?
No.
Who was
that?
it?
Was Annette Funicello. She starred in Where the Boys Are. Her hit song was Lipstick on Your Collar.
And Who's Sorry Now?
It's Connie Francis.
And Who's Sorry Now? And Cupid Stupid.
Will you sing me a little Connie Francis here so we can get a little more white?
Yeah, sure. Lipstick on your collar. Told a tale on you. Lipstick on your collar. said that we are through. Bet your bottom dollar you and I through. Plus lipstick on your collar. Told a tale on you.
Matt, I'd say if you come home, Matt, with lipstick on your collar, good damn luck to you. All the soda water in the world ain't going to wash that out. Some of you clowns out there. Matt, did that move you? Has Titans Bill's phone call moved you?
Oh, yeah. I always like a Titans Bill phone call.
No.
You never know what you're going to get.
Nope, but it's not going to be on topic.
I'm sorry about Connie Francis, though. She was legendary performer.
Bill, what's her real name?
I don't know what her real name was, but I think her real name was, I guess, Connie Francis. I have no idea.
Well, that adds
what
a lot.
Her real name was.
What are the chances her real name was Connie Francis, John?
Back in those days, no. I would say the first name is a little longer.
Connie Rosa Maria Francerno, Franconero, an Italian-American. Born in Newark, New Jersey, 1937.
I thought it was 1938.
That says here, December 12, 1937, Bill.
Huh.
I remember seeing her on American Bandstand. Since we're going so deeply into the past.
Bill, do you remember the American Bandstand theme? You know, I have people tell me, they say, Tony, sometimes your show is, kind of like serious, and sometimes it's interesting, but sometimes it's really stupid. And I don't know what...
But stupid can be entertaining.
But I don't know what would lead people to say that. Bill, when I was a kid, I grew up with people telling me stories about two things. The American Bandstand when it was in Philadelphia, because Dick Clark, that's where he was from, and that's where it was. And then the old Steel Pier deal in Atlantic City. Do you remember the Steel Pier in Atlantic City? Does that ring a bell to you?
No.
Well, you're out of here. Let's go back to our phones and get our next call in on your TLD Logistics phone lines. Hello and welcome in. You're on the air.
Hey, Tony, Jordan, how are you this afternoon?
Hey, good to talk to you.
Good to talk to you, too. Connie Francis, Pretty Little Baby, is that also not a Connie Francis tune? Of course, I'm a little bit of a younger guy, but that song's been popular on the social medias this spring and summer, so I don't know. Maybe y'all can fact check me on that, but
Pretty Little Baby. Okay, cool.
Pretty Little Baby.
All
yeah.
right.
Speaking of that, Tony, did I perceive? Did you get kind of hot and bothered there talking to Tony V about his hat and kind of pushed the wrong button there a little bit ago? Is that kind of what was going on?
Dude, you have no idea. Okay, how much I love that hat. You just have zero. No, you have zero. In fact, I'm going to do a YouTube video on it later. That hat spoke to me in a real and profound way. That Tony Vitello is one of the coolest dudes to ever freaking live, man.
He's such a Renaissance man, too. I mean, in kind of his own way, he's kind of a little bit like Mike Leach. I mean, he can talk about any topic, can he? It's just very knowledgeable about whatever you want to trot out.
That's a great stick, because what they would say about Mike Leach when he passed away was that people would call the office or dial a wrong number, and he would sit there and talk to anybody for like 20 minutes, John, 25 minutes, right?
Oh, I could see that, yeah. And he could talk about anything. And yes, Connie Francis did sing Pretty Little Baby.
And so Tony Vols Tony Vols got me into the MMA thing. When I was first, because I grew up like a wrestling fan, and Tony says, man, you need to, with your personality, you would enjoy this. Kind of like what Berkey used to say to me about SEC baseball. And I told both of them, I told Tony, I said, man, that's human cockfighting. I ain't going to watch that. And then I gave it a try. And I started texting him, and I'm like, this is pretty cool, man. And he's like, yeah, well, watch this fight this weekend. Because I asked Tony one time, I said, you know, it would be really cool if, like, we could do, like, a listener watch party, and you sat there and, you know, taught everybody. You came out to the MMA, and he goes, yeah, sure it would. Don't push yourself. Don't push it. Oh, well.
Tony, what I'd like to request is when Tony V lets you borrow that hat, maybe you can wear it and do a cover of Pretty Little Baby on the guitar at the next listener watch party or something. That might be a good idea. You know, something to think about.
Yeah, I'm gonna.
Since you're younger, how did this Pretty Little Baby thing come up?
Yeah.
Where does that come from?
Yeah.
So let me tell you, it's been a TikTok trend this summer. So you know, I've got a college age daughter, so you kind of keep up with what's going on, and so yeah, it's been a popular TikTok sound kind of spring into summer with people posting, you know, pet videos and that sort of thing. So
oh,
anyway,
okay, cool.
Yeah,
So kind of like that whole thing with Rick Astley a few years ago with the young people, where you got Rick-rolled.
Yes, that's a good comparison.
Yeah.
A similar kind of thing.
Yep.
Hey, listen, another thing I want to talk about if we've got a couple more minutes.
Sure, hit it.
John Adams' column, I don't know whether it was yesterday or the day before, kind of a look at SEC coaches on the hot seat that may not be present at SEC Media Days next year. And the one that, you know, that's kind of perpetually, it seems, on that list is Mark Stoops. I'm just kind of thinking through this revenue sharing model. As I understand it, you know, Mark Stoops has a really large buyout number. How are these athletic directors going to kind of navigate these massive buyouts? As you mentioned earlier, Tony, just kind of how they're trying to grab every bit of revenue they can because of the uncertainty of the revenue sharing model. I agree with what you wrote, John, about who's on the hot seat, but how does the execution of these firings happen when dollars may be more limited? And I was even thinking a little bit, too, about are these athletic directors going to look to find ways to maybe try to fire people for cause, sort of the Pruitt model? Are they going to go to these folks that maybe want to leave anyway and maybe negotiate a lesser buyout? I mean, what do you all think may happen as we look into kind of into the season next year when some firings happen?
I love that question. Thank you, my friend. Great phone call, and I love that question. Go ahead, John.
Yeah, I think athletic directors, school administrators will get more careful and get their attorneys involved more in crafting these contracts.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Because that's a great loophole.
Yep.
However, when you talk about where they're going to come up with the money, it's fascinating to me how schools, boosters, whatever you want to call it, always come up with the money. Texas A&M didn't blink when it paid off Jimbo Fisher.
I don't know if it happens today, though, John, in the rev share era. I don't know.
Oh, I still think it can happen.
I tell you this, Arkansas, because we're in the rev show era, they brought their coach back, and they can get their hands on Tyson Food money, but they brought Sam Pittman back, and their fans were like, "What are we doing?" Because they're obviously going to fire the guy. I mean, that's obviously what's going to happen. But they decided, you know, to kind of run it down the road another year, run down the buyout. I think you're right, though. I think the days of this massive buyout on the back end of this thing, why would I pay you failure money? That's never, ever made sense to me. Does anybody walk in that's listening to me and negotiate in a business sense when you're sitting across from the person that's in human resources doing the hiring? Does anybody say, well, what's my buyout look like when I fail at this thing? What's my severance look like?
That's quite a sales pitch.
Imagine that, seriously.
Oh, I agree. I mean, it's crazy to spend that kind of money. If you've got a coveted job, like Tennessee is a coveted job,
sure,
head football coach at Tennessee, and you offer it to a coach, let's take Derek Dooley.
Yeah.
Say, we're not giving you a buyout. He's had 2 losing seasons in 3 years at Louisiana Tech.
Right.
Would he turn down the Tennessee job because he doesn't have a big buyout? No. And even though it was a difficult situation at the time, losing 2 coaches in 2 years, he still would have taken the job.
I don't understand, like, and I'm not trying to step on toes here, but they do this in all these sports. Like, they gave the Lady Vol basketball coach a huge raise. Why? You listen, you get a huge raise when you win big. I give you a raise when you go to the Final Four. You don't get what they get, 16 last year? What they make?
Sweet 16.
I mean, are you kidding?
She did a really good job, but I agree with you.
It doesn't make any sense.
She's being paid to do a really good job.
Right.
You pay the money, you extend the contract, you beef up the contract when somebody has leverage. When somebody's trying to hire you away, if you've done a great job and other people want you, but that's the nature. It's
a weird deal, man.
Spending other people's money. It's not coming out of your pocket.
No question. And, you look at Heupel, and he's all of a sudden up around the $10 million mark. And you go, okay, $10 million. I'd give that to Kirby Smart. I'm not knocking Josh Heupel.
But he's in the middle of the SEC contract-wise.
That's what's crazy. That's how much money these cats are making. That's what's nuts.
Billy Napier. I mean, did Florida have to pay Billy Napier that much at the outset to get him from Louisiana? Maybe it did.
I mean,
he's going to get more than he was making at Louisiana. Obviously, how could he have passed on that job for, let's just say, be limited to $1 million a year less?
The money in these sports used to be with the coaches. Does the money, now that we're in a revenue share or whatever, does it now filter down to the players and away from the administrators and the coaches? Because here's the thing about the players. I cannot believe that the players have not unionized yet. Just on their own. Just said, hey, you know what? We're kind of going to have a strike here. Because if they did that, I mean, it would be game over. But let's go back to it. Hey, Matt, yesterday we had on the show Adam Sparks, who shared with us that Miles Kitzelman's not a fan at all of Nico. And he's a big fan of Joey football. And I ran the comments and the quotes today in the blog, but it is worth what Adam shared with us, which is that Miles Kitzelman went to media day and put Joey football over on purpose. Was effusive in his praise of him on purpose. And the defensive guys were really praising Nico. Oh, he's our brother. And Miles Kitzelman's like, no comment. Because Adam Sparks is reported yesterday on here that he can't stand him. Okay? Can you imagine how the serious guys on offense must have felt about Nico when he walked out the door on them? And just what a violation in that sport that is after a spring practice. Because you've put my career at stake. For my numbers for the next year. You were kind of mid to begin with and way overpaid. I mean, I can't imagine how those guys must have felt. I didn't really consider that until Adam said it yesterday, but that's some really interesting insight from Adam Sparks, Matt, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And I would guess the majority of the team is a lot closer to Kitzelman's view on it than what the defensive players said publicly. I mean, some of the defensive guys that even said that might even agree with Kitzelman. Yet they just didn't want to, create any kind of storylines. But no, I think that is interesting, and it should hopefully help your football team because it really shows you have a really healthy culture that you can do that and get rid of kind of your franchise guy can kind of quit on you and you wind up getting better, hopefully for it in the locker room, and hopefully it translates on the field somehow.
Yeah, when you mention that culture thing, it's harder to maintain a strong culture in this era where a lot of guys are getting paid a lot more than other guys. And so it's incumbent upon the guys that are getting paid the most to carry themselves in a certain way. I'm sure Arch Manning can do that as well as anybody. He knows what you're supposed to be. He grew up with that. Yep. But, I think players, different team, different situation. But last year in that SEC championship game, when Carson Beck went down with an injury in the first half against Texas for Georgia's starting quarterback, considered a first-round draft pick, he goes down with injury. When Gunnar Stockton, the backup, came into that game in the second half and ran for a first down, the team reacted as though it had just won the national championship. You could see that this team loved Gunnar Stockton.
Mm-hmm. Did the Vols love Nico last year, John?
I think they were probably indifferent toward Nico. I don't think they hated Nico.
I agree with that.
I don't think that at all.
I don't think they hated him.
No, I just think, but there's a way to carry yourself. This Gunnar Stockton dude, who didn't get the kind of money that Nico did, certainly, but he was highly recruited.
Sure.
So, but it was the way he carried himself. He loves Georgia. He loves playing football. And the players embraced him. And you saw the difference that can make. And I wonder with Joey Aguilar, and I don't even know if he'll be the starter. It's not assured. I think he's obviously the favorite because they're paying him. He transferred here.
Right.
But he's the kind of guy that could win over a locker room because he's an underdog. He comes in here. I mean, look what he said. Played in the Sun Belt, goes to UCLA as a transfer. That's where his future is. And they say, well, we're going to take Nico instead of you. I mean, what a slap in the face. I mean, and so now he comes to Tennessee. I just think his story will really resonate with this team. And I don't know anything about him, but I bet from what I've read and just from what other players have said, I bet he does win over the players. And when you're a quarterback and you can do that, that can matter every bit as much as whether you can throw that deep out on a line or whether you can hit that receiver in stride on a 60-yard pass, because it can make everybody better. I think Nico last year, Nico didn't make everybody better. He just didn't. And he was limited in the talent around him. He's got plenty of ability, but he didn't lift up anybody. I didn't think of him as an inspirational type player.
Oh, no. Matt, you said that in real time last year, the fact that some of these guys raise the level of guys around them, and some just don't. And Nico, I don't know whether it was what he didn't know about the offense, if he lost his confidence, if he just didn't have that type of personality because his father takes so much oxygen when he was in the room with the kid growing up. But he just never looked like that on the field with his teammates. And I hear about this kid, that this kid here is extremely cocky. And I've told you that. And I hear it all the time about him. Now, they're very tight-lipped about what they're doing. Okay, whatever. State secrets. Okay, fine. But the thing that Kitzelman said about, hey, he's had us out for dinner, and we've gotten together a bunch, and he's taken the time to kind of pour himself into us, and we're hanging out with each other. That kid could easily have come here, cashed his $1 million paycheck, worked on his football, and not spent a minute with the guys off the field. He could have easily done that. The fact that he's taken the time to make the time to get to know everybody, and that you hear that from a team leader, that speaks volumes to me. I think that is a great sign. And Dixon, the fact that Kitzelman yesterday or at the media days refused to pop for Nico, I think is a great sign. I think it shows that, hey, I'm not going to kiss this guy's ass on the way out the door after what he did to us. I'm not going to lie about him. I love that. I love authenticity. I think that's and I think that does speak to culture, John. The fact that, we're not going to pretend. I'm not going to pretend that he's my brother. He's not my brother. The guy left. I mean, he's my brother of what? I mean, the guy did something that's never done in that sport. You followed this for a long time. How many starting quarterbacks have ever left after a spring practice? Can you think of?
And how many quarterbacks have not showed up for practice? There are sacred rules in this sport. And if you look at it maybe from a pure talent perspective and you say, well, I got an email to this effect.
Yeah.
Josh Heupel made a tactical error by letting Nico go. He didn't have a quarterback. He had a better shot with Nico coming back as a quarterback than bringing somebody in here, a rush job, get him familiar with the offense, go into an SEC schedule. Very challenging. But Josh Heupel, he's been there. He was a leader and a quarterback on a national championship team.
Yeah.
I think after Nico didn't show up for that practice, it was over with. And you can't say, well, he's going to be better. Well, yeah, maybe his skill set's better. The quarterback I can bring in here, maybe that's the plus. But the minuses from that, I don't know if Nico could have won back the team after Kitzelman.
Yeah.
And here's the thing about Kitzelman, from everything I've heard, he's obviously, he was at SEC Media Days. Josh Heupel brings his team leaders to Media Day.
Yes.
And I think the reason the other players might not have spoken critically of Nico, it was because they feel in their role as a team leader, team spokesperson, they've got to be somewhat political. And maybe that's just not Miles Kitzelman's personality.
I love it.
But I think Kitzelman is a guy who's a team leader and people respect him. And you can't have a quarterback that you just don't believe in. And I'm not saying last year that Georgia, it's not like Georgia. I don't think Georgia maybe didn't dislike Carson Beck.
John, that money, all that money, and the way that kid flaunted
the way you get a
Lamborghini.
Teammates.
Hey, he lost his team. Let's call this what it is. Because, these guys told me, well, he was going to be a top 10 pick anyway. I'm not sure about that. He was not good last year.
And at that
he
position,
was not good last year. And he lost his team last year.
At that position, you've got to have more than the big arm.
Oh.
And the accuracy.
Oh.
You got to be able to lift up a team. I go back when I saw Patrick Mahomes, one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time, and when I saw him in that Super Bowl against Tampa Bay, when they were overmatched, when Tampa Bay had their number, he was playing without his two starting offensive tackles. Mm-hmm. He was done under duress that entire game, yet he never stopped competing. We think of a guy who's, for part of his career, had all these great weapons around him. He's putting up huge numbers. Yeah. But in that game, he showed me more. And you can see why that team believes in him. He was trying to make a play even when he was getting beat up. He was under pressure the entire game. That's what a quarterback has to be able to do. That's what Tom Brady did. That's what Johnny Manziel did at Texas A&M.
Damn straight he did.
I mean,
now he became a distraction, as it went.
Oh, I know.
But as the year went along, he said to them, "Come on with me. We're in a place that's never done anything. We haven't done anything in a generation. Come on, we're going to win double-digit games. We're going to come out of the chute. These people have no idea who we are." Didn't they upset Alabama that year?
Yes, they did. Beat Nick Saban.
At a time when nobody was beating Nick Saban.
And that was Tim Tebow's greatness about Tim
No question.
he just lifted everybody up. He said, I'm going to do whatever it takes. You guys follow me. He made that promise.
We're not losing.
The promise. We're not losing. Yeah.
Who says
but
that?
See, but you, to be able to say that and for that to work, the people have to believe in you. It's not what you say, it's what you do. And they believed in him. And I think maybe this team believes in Joey Aguilar. And I think that could be, that's kind of a, when you're listing the strengths and weaknesses of a program going into a season, you don't say, well, the team really believes in its quarterback. You don't usually list that. You expect it.
I think the one thing about Heupel that I love is that he's extremely emotionally intelligent. Now, he doesn't show that in interviews, and he doesn't care about that stuff. He hates getting before an open microphone, and that's whatever. He's not here to entertain you. But you can tell, and John's right, when a guy does not show up for practice and you play quarterback and it's the last practice before that spring game, he could have smoothed that over and walked it back, and Nico apologized. This guy is too emotionally intelligent for that, because he knows when you do that in a locker room, you might as well show up in our locker room with a Florida jersey on. I mean, you are gone.
You can't win with that guy.
You can't win with that, and that is the bottom line. So he managed around him last year. He's like, I bet that pissed him off. I mean, I can't even imagine how angry he was. We continue with more. We'll get some calls in after this.
Guests appear on the TLD Logistics Hotline. Online at tldlogistics.com.
Next week with your Knoxville Smokies is huge. Who's ready for Christmas? Well, good, because Santa, Mrs. Claus, and the whole gang will be warming up at Covenant Health Park on Friday. Wrestling night with live matches after the game on Saturday, and bring those kiddos out to meet Peppa Pig on Sunday.
I'm Peppa Pig.
Grab your tickets now at SmokiesBaseball.com.
Knoxville Smokies.
Whether it's baseball, football, softball, church groups, or schools, if you're raising money, do it with locally roasted Grade A Grounds coffee. I'm Billy Miller, a Vol alum and Knoxville native. You keep 40% of sales, and we donate 5% back to our East Tennessee community. Get started today by visiting our website at gradeagrounds.com.
Since 2001, Pipe Wrench Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. Always same-day service guaranteed, or the visit is free.
Hi, I'm Jim Simpson, owner of Simpson Meats. When's the last time you grilled a really good burger or steak? One your friends still talk about. Our goal at Simpson Meats is to make that happen every time you have a cookout. All of our cuts of meats, steaks, burgers, briskets, and pork are always fresh, flavorful, and sustainably sourced. We are family-owned, so we know the importance of knowing how and where your food is raised. We have been putting quality first since 1888. Visit our butcher shop off Lovell Road or online at simpsonmeats.com.
Life never stops moving. And between the 30-minute commutes, daycare pickups, weekly soccer practice, Tuesday night yoga, X number of coffee runs, and that weekend trip to Grandma's, you're racking up the miles. What you need is a tire that can keep up. A tire designed for doers. A tire that's going to last. Like the exceptionally long-lasting Michelin Defender tire. With an 80,000-mile warranty and the safety and comfort you expect, you can forget all about the miles ahead and focus on getting to your destination or conquering your to-do list. Fleet Tire, I-275 exit 1B at East Woodland Avenue in Knoxville. That's Fleet Tire, I-275 exit 1B at East Woodland Avenue in Knoxville. Fleet Tire. Basilio here for Budget Transmissions. TGMD, the great Matt Dixon, took his Ford Escape to budget, and like our gold bullet back in the day, it was a total mess. And now, Matt's back in the game. He's got a new transmission, axle, wheel bearing, both radiator hoses, engine mounts, coolant hoses. I mean, his Ford Escape was about to escape to the junkyard, but he didn't begrudge it. He took it to budget, and now he's on his way back to Omaha. Budget Transmissions, over 30 years in business, conveniently located in Bearden. All extended service contracts are honored. A gold certified Repair Pal member. 865-584-4391. 865-584-4391. Budget Transmissions. Don't begrudge it. Take it to budget.
Hey there, Basilio family. Jennifer Morris here with Keller Williams Realty. The countdown to fall football is on. Is your fall plan missing the perfect home to watch the Vols make another playoff run? If a new view is on your game day checklist, I'm ready to help you find it. Don't wait until kickoff. Give me a call today at 865-694-5904 or visit my website at nextmovesmokymountains.com. That's nextmovesmokymountains.com, and go Vols.
Tony B here with the great Zakai Ziegler for
Hey,
Advent.
whoa. Tony, I got this. Hey, Tennessee, it's Easy here. Next time you have an electric issue at your home or business, call my friends at Advent Electric. With offices in Knoxville and Nashville, it's Mama's Easy approved.
You heard it from the most electrifying player in the league. Call the service professionals at Advent Electric, 865-588-0631. Online, adventelectric.com. Tell them ZZ sent you. TB back with you. Look, I don't think I learned, but John's got a good point. This Joey football guy is a blank canvas. And we're going to go back to our phones, and we'll do a TLD Logistics Overdrive overtime today. I don't know how much of it we will, but we'll do some. We're live tomorrow at Calhoun's on the Marina. Beautiful Lenoir Cité. We're coming to your Cité tomorrow. Calhoun's on the Marina in Lenoir City tomorrow. At a summer celebration. That's what I'm calling it. Hey, Matt, I'm not going to get into the business of hyping these quarterbacks up, right, anymore till I see it on a field. But I'm calling this guy Joey Football. So
you're a walking contradiction.
You just can't help yourself, Tone.
But I'm rooting so hard for this guy, which is what John was talking about. I think the entire establishment of college football, John, is cheering for this kid to make it. Really, really rooting for him. In fact, it wouldn't surprise me to see him get some calls on the football field for that reason. I'm talking about he wears the whitest hat that a quarterback has ever worn. He got thrown out and disgraced by UCLA. They just threw him out. They basically put him out in the trash.
Well, they just said you came all the way from the Sun Belt.
Yeah.
You came all the way from Appalachian State, and thanks for your time,
You're
Joey.
from here.
But we got somebody. Yeah,
you're from here.
Yeah, we got somebody better though, Joey. Thanks for playing. Good luck with whatever you want to do. And
would you think other coaches would have done that? You think? You
know what?
That's a very interesting thing, right? Would Heupel do something like that?
I think we got to remember that all coaches, you're paid a lot of money, and you got to do what's best for your program. You got to do what's best for your program. And sometimes that's not best for an individual player. However, Josh Heupel, I don't think he would have done that.
Matt, what do you make of that? You think Heupel would have done something like that? Because I do not. I think he's too smart to do something like that.
No, I don't think you would have.
But wouldn't it though depend?
But UCLA,
we're talking.
I'll say this: that's a desperate program.
Oh,
I mean, they are the height of desperation. Okay,
Yeah.
to the living listener, I love you.
Yeah. If you're a coach on the hot seat, you can't do it.
We're going to get out of here on the radio end, but we'll continue to take some phone calls. So if you want to get in with us, 865-200-5402. We love you. Peace. Today's been kind of a timing train wreck. I apologize.
WJBE 1040 AM 99.7 FM. Translator W259AB. Powell, Knoxville.
Crazy day. But Matt brings that culture issue up, and John brought a really good point up that I hadn't thought about, Nico.
It's TLD Logistics Overdrive Overtime, presented by TLD Logistics. Online at tldlogistics.com.
When you miss that practice because you're whining, basically holding out is what that is.
And now let's go to the
I remember
guys with
saying that in
today's
real
edition
time.
of TLD Logistics Overdrive Overtime.
College football is different than the pro game. Pro game, everybody's getting paid. They understand this guy's holding out. We have a collective bargaining agreement. This guy's holding out. We're all going to do that at some point if it comes to that.
Yeah, it's business. It's business.
College game, you got people in there who aren't making any money. You still have some players that are, and
And some of those people not making any money are blocking for you.
Oh yeah, they're working for peanuts, right? Those fifth-year seniors last year, and those guys, and then some of the kids that are in here now that would look at this guy and go, well, you say you're for us, but can I really trust that you're one of us when you did what you did? Can I? And will you do it again? See, that's why those quarterbacks. It's such a different deal. It's just such a different thing. I don't know. Matt, you've talked me into this Joey football guy, though, who's not going to make mistakes in this offense or throw a bunch of interceptions, Matt. He's going to make mistakes, obviously, but they're going to mitigate his interceptions.
Yeah, he will not lead the country in interceptions again like he did last year.
And remember another thing about this offense when you bring it up, and as Matt knows, Josh Heupel's offense is really not what we thought it was exactly when he took the job.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not what we thought of when we watched Jalen Hyatt score 5 touchdowns on pass receptions against Alabama. He runs the ball. He's led the SEC in rushing 2 straight years. And even though he lost Dylan Sampson, I wouldn't put it past Tennessee leading the SEC in rushing again. It'll be in the top 3 or 4, I would guess. I think the league will run the ball in general better this year. So there's not the kind of pressure on a quarterback necessarily. He doesn't have to throw for 450 yards.
To get our next call in, it's going to be a really interesting year in the league, too. Interesting year here. Last year was interesting because we wanted to see what the 12-team playoff was going to look like. Okay, fine, we saw that. This year's interesting because even the halves in the league don't have proven quarterbacks. The proven quarterback resides at LSU, and they're kind of they're a tier down from those 3 surefire. I got Alabama going to the playoffs. I got Georgia going to the playoffs. I got Texas going to the playoffs. And then I got a group of teams in there, and LSU's kind of in that next group. Now, LSU, they win that Clemson game, and they're going to set themselves up as a playoff team because that's going to be a great win on the road because Clemson's going to go off in that league, and they're going to win a ton of games. You talk about jumping from the frying pan right into the fire. I can't figure out why LSU continues to do this and won't buy out of one of these games. I mean, I guess you've got to admire that in a way. But Brian Kelly's tenure has been marred by these games, John, and they don't recover from them.
It's had a huge effect, not on how he's perceived, but I think I would pick LSU number 1. I think it has the most talented roster in the country. It does. No, it has nothing to do with I graduated from there. I ripped LSU.
Hey, Matt, are you shocked by that turn of events here?
No, not shocked at all, but he's probably got a pretty good point.
Back to the phones we go. But why would they continue to do this to themselves?
Oh no, I don't get that at all. That's
if you
going
lose that
above
game,
and beyond.
Yeah.
But yeah,
that is going above and beyond.
LSU's conference schedule is difficult enough.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
But see, you bring up something else about the quarterbacks. Garrett Nussmeier is one of the best quarterbacks in the country, obviously.
Yeah.
Some teams that to me are rated higher than they really are.
Yeah.
Because of the quarterbacks is South Carolina with Lenora Sellers,
right,
and Florida with DJ Lagway. Those to me are mid-level teams in the SEC, and might have trouble winning more than 6 or 7 games. But their quarterbacks are so good. Imagine if Alabama had Lenora Sellers at quarterback.
Our conversation, the conversation I had with that odds maker from Vegas the other day, Robert Kowalski of VIP Play, over on YouTube, you got to go see it. Kowalski says, look, it's never been harder in college football, and then we'll go to the phones. It's never been harder to get a grasp for what's on these rosters, because here's the truth. When you play in the Southeastern Conference, injuries are going to happen. And when they happen, the guy that's a second-team player is not as good as he was 5 years ago, because he's on somebody else's roster now. Your second-team player, and sometimes your third-team player is on somebody else's roster. So let's go to the phones and get our next call in. And that makes it harder and harder and harder to sharpen your pencil and figure out what's on everybody's roster as we go along. Hello and welcome in. You're on the air.
Happy John Adams Day.
Hey, Joshy boy. Welcome in.
Thanks. I'll lead off by asking John this. So, John, after Miami had a great season, pretty good season with Cam Ward last season, do you think Carson Beck can lead Miami to a pretty decent season this year?
It's going to be interesting to see what kind of year he has.
Carson Beck is not Cam Ward.
Right.
He's
Well,
not the player
obviously.
that Cam Ward is in college now. Certainly he has talent, great arm talent. But I wonder, my big question about Carson Beck is, did he learn from his Georgia experience? And I wonder if he did. Because if I'm Carson Beck, he's got to – how could he not notice how the team responded when Gunnar Stockton went in that ball game against Texas for the SEC championship? How could he not think, you know, those guys didn't get that excited when I was playing quarterback.
Yeah.
Or even if they didn't
if you're a smart guy, you'd say, hey,
he's supposed to be bright, and maybe he's bright with a Rubik's Cube, but how much self-awareness does he have? Can he win over, we've been talking about this a lot, I think the key for him, can he win over the Miami locker room? Miami has talent.
Hey, Matt, what do you make of what John's saying in terms of do you think that kid was disliked inside Georgia's deal, Matt? You think that was part of it?
Yeah, yes, there is a huge disconnect. We kind of saw it early in the year because the way Kirby Smart would like try to be positive with him when he threw all those interceptions, it was very un-Kirby like to like have these one-on-one conversations with him coming off the field about, and they were all kind of the rah-rah stuff, which is not what Kirby does. So, yeah, I definitely think there is – I don't know if they disliked him, but there is just a huge disconnect between Beck and the rest of that team. And it's a really great example that John brought up that hopefully can kind of apply to Tennessee this year.
Well, you know what's interesting, too?
I don't know.
Go ahead, John.
I don't know, guys. People change, and Carson's probably like, I need to change my attitude and this and that, like, on the field when I was with Georgia this season, and maybe we see a different Carson Beck in to Miami this season, and he's actually a team player.
You know what else I noticed last year? Because you talk about the way they coddled Carson Beck. Tennessee coddled Nico. They did not hard coach him last year. Heupel has hard coached his kids from the sidelines. You've seen it. You saw him do it with Hooker in his first year. You saw him do it with Joe Milton. But last year, when this kid would make his mistakes or hold the ball too long, they did not hard coach him on the sidelines, John.
No, and I think I think Kirby Smart's one of the brightest coaches in college football.
He's very good,
obviously. Yeah. And I think a coach like that who is very perceptive, he knows that to start the year, he knows that Carson Beck gives them the best chance of winning a championship.
Yeah.
He knows that, and so he's got to bring out the best in Carson Beck. And to Matt's point, I think that's what he knew he had to do. He had to be very careful with Carson Beck, how he managed him to bring out the best in him. That's a great point, Matt Ways, because a really good coach, you think that's not how Kirby normally coaches. Well, the great coaches are able to say, well, I got to make a change here. I can't handle him the same way I handle Stetson Bennett or Jake Fromm.
Why? Why couldn't he do that?
Because he knows the guy's psyche and he knows that he wouldn't respond. You got to know how your guys will respond. Now, you can say that, well, they say this, well, coach's got to treat everybody the same. No, because everybody isn't the same.
That's a great line.
Yeah. Hey, John, you're a Louisiana guy, and I want your opinion on this. Week 1, LSU at Clemson. If Brian Kelly does everything he does every year, loses Week 1, how is that LSU crowd going to respond? Are they going to turn on him after that game?
Some of them will want to burn him at the stake.
I love those people, man.
I mean, they overreact.
I love those people.
They
You
overreact.
think he'll be on the hot seat, though, if he loses that Week 1 game?
No.
John,
no.
do they have a Garza Law fifth quarter fan reaction thing down there that I can listen to? Because T-Bob Hebert does his deal with somebody, but it's not.
Yeah.
They're not taking calls. WLW used to stay on till the wee small.
WWL,
they don't do it anymore.
No, but they used to have that kind of show. They had it before anybody else
loved
had it.
No, it was incredible. That's where I got my idea.
And those guys, and they don't hold anything back.
Bobby Hebert used to get drunk on the air down there with the Tillier.
Yeah. So I think, it will be tremendous heat on him. That's why I just don't understand why you schedule a game like that. I could see it more in a neutral site game.
Stupid.
But the idea that you've got to go to Clemson, and Clemson's now probably better than it's been since 2018 when it won a national title.
Was that a home-and-home deal they did since they're going to Clemson this year?
I don't think so.
No.
I haven't heard that.
Oh.
And so that's odd. That to me is odd. Why would you make that deal?
Yeah.
I don't get it. But I do think. Go ahead.
They spent all this money in the portal. They went all out this season in the spring, and that's kind of what I think. If they lose this Week 1 game, all the pressure is going to be on Brian Kelly after going all out. Like, it kind of reminds me of like the New York Yankees and Dodgers, like spending millions on their roster.
Yeah, that's a fair analogy, and I think also, but when you think about it, the pressure has been on Brian Kelly from the very first game and certainly from the very first loss. But I still would, and I think it makes you wonder about Brian Kelly in this situation. His track record says he can win a national championship there. But Jimbo Fisher's track record said he could win a national championship at Texas A&M, and he didn't. However, I look at that roster and how LSU, I haven't seen any team in this transfer era help itself in so many positions as LSU did. And then with a quarterback, I still think it can go. I think it's good enough to go in there to Clemson and win that game.
Guys, out the door, I'll end with this. We knew Monday in Sankey's opening press conference, it doesn't look like they're going to go to a non-SEC game schedule, but do you think you might have second thoughts and might end up going to it?
Well, Matt, what do you think happens now in light of Chris Lowe's reporting last night, in light of the fact that the Big Ten basically has said if you don't play 9, we're not going to go to 16 games. And I believe the Big Ten, by the way, when they say that.
I think eventually the SEC will go to 9 when ESPN starts paying them a little bit more to do it.
And
I think they'll eventually go to 9 here in a few years.
I also, as Tony said, Chris Lowe's really well sourced on ESPN, and he presented that likelihood of that, and I trust Chris's reporting. I would guess it does. It needs to go to 9 anyway. It just needs to go to 9.
Isn't that funny? Because if they go to 9, then the conversation becomes, what's the format? 9 games will allow you to more readily keep the traditional matchups that you want to keep.
And also,
8 games wasn't going to let you do that.
And what's the thing that they kept telling us when they added Oklahoma and Texas? They kept saying how we want fans to see more teams more often, to go visit other teams more often. You know, I mean, you can go forever without playing a team in a 16-team league. So that's the, and I make fun of myself for saying this. I always think about, well, what's best for the game? And that's not what they think.
No.
They don't think that. But what's best for the game? Certainly a 9-game conference schedule. And it's also best for the game that the selection committee truly honors and takes a hard look at strength of schedule, not just look at the records. But I just think you're going to go to a 16-team playoff. The SEC is going to get enough teams in. It's going to get enough teams in that belong in the playoff. I don't think the 6th team in the SEC can win the national championship. And I really think there are going to be some teams from the Big 12 and maybe the ACC that can field the national championship caliber team. They might have more than one team from those leagues that could compete for national championship. I would just like to see, when you go into a 16-team playoff, again, what's best for college football? I would like to see the best 16 teams in the country.
Why not?
That would be great.
And it would make the sport, look, if you're going to do a playoff, plus the thing I like about a 16-team playoff is, from a Tennessee perspective, we're most years in this market going to be at least in the conversation. If you look at our history, difference between being in the conversation, in or out, Matt, 9-3 most years, you're in the conversation, right? For a playoff spot. Now, you might not get there some years, but if you go 9-3, you got a pretty good shot.
In a 16-team playoff, 9-3 gets you in probably 90% of the time.
I agree with that. Some years you won't. You know, every once in a while it'll be that funky year, and it is what it is. But most years, and that's kind of where we are here. I mean, we're going to be 9. Last year 10 wins. But as these guys have said, 10 wins around here is kind of rare. Heupel's done it twice. Obviously, the 12-game schedule compared to history helps, because really 10 wins is 9 wins now compared to what it used to be under 11 games, because you schedule a guaranteed win in there. And I love what they did when they went to the 12th game. They told us this will give us an opportunity, to see some matchups you haven't seen. And they had zero interest, John, in ever doing that. Zero interest.
And you know what? It's not just the SEC. The Big Ten loves to tout its 9-game conference schedule. I get that. But look at the non-conference schedules of some of those Big Ten teams. They're not worried about having an attractive intersectional matchup, a tough non-conference. Mm-hmm. Some of those things, I mean, we make fun of the SEC, and we should, for some of the opponents it schedules, because they're surefire wins. You go to the stadium, you already know what's going to happen. Mm-hmm. It has all the suspense of a walkthrough. Mm-hmm. But you look at some of those Big Ten schedules. Wow. The non-conference schedules, there's no threats in some of those schedules.
Joke. And they play in a joke league. I mean, look, I see, and I'm an anti-establishment guy, I see where Sankey's coming from with the 8 versus a 9. 8 games in the SEC is a harder schedule than 9 games in the Big Ten, no question. I also see where the Big Ten's coming from, where, look, If we're going to play 9, you're going to play 9. And if we're going to be the AFC and the NFC, which eventually we all are, and we're going to grab 2 more teams, and you're going to grab 4, and we're going to have a 40-team Super League, let's at least agree on how many league games we're going to play as a matter of procedure. So,
yeah, and I think
both of those things make sense to me.
I think it's also interesting that Ohio State, or Michigan, these schools will schedule these tougher games non-conference, and I think a lot of that, Ohio State knows its fan base expects a national championship every year.
Yes,
which explains why Ryan Day was practically on the hot seat with so many fans because he lost one game to Michigan.
Hey, Matt, think about that first week of college football. Not week 0. Week 0, I don't even know why they do week 0. I mean, what is that?
Zero interest.
Zero. That's a great line. Week 1, when you got that Clemson game, look, ordinarily Tennessee-Syracuse would be kind of semi-interesting game. That's going to get buried that day. You've got that Clemson-LSU game. You've got that freaking Texas visiting Ohio State, Matt. Can you imagine how next level that game is going to be? Arch Manning running around up there. How fun that's going to be to watch.
Yeah, great matchups and played on college campuses, which is, I think,
exactly.
No, those will be two of the premier games of the whole season.
There's a couple more that day too. My memory, Matt. Do you remember? There's 2 more on that day that are really good games, like wall to wall, really good football there in week 1.
Texas A&M.
It's somebody
plays at Notre Dame, but I don't think it's the first week.
Wow, that's good for college football. That's good for college football.
And then you and Michigan's at Oklahoma.
That is it. Michigan, Oklahoma.
I'm not sure
them,
that's the first game or the second.
Let me look this up. Because they've already announced the times of them. It's the week 1. It's just remarkable stuff. It's going to be a lot of fun. A lot of fun. On the way out here. John, thanks. Matt, any final thoughts? John, any final thoughts?
No, thanks for Tony.
Good show.
Thanks for Tony Vitello coming on, and he was on for like 40 minutes.
He's a goof.
You think he was wearing that hat you love so much? You think he was wearing it while he was talking to you, but didn't tell you?
And Tony gets like, a little head. Hey, Tony, your head is so damn big.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, come on. You can barely fit in a room right now.
What size hat do you wear, Tony?
Way too big. Way too big.
I know a guy in basic training. He got out of the Army when I was in the Army because his head was too big. They didn't have a helmet for him.
Are you kidding?
No.
That's awesome, dude. What kind of is that? What kind of discharge would that be if your head is too big?
It's a heady discharge.
Was he an intelligent guy? Because usually people like me, let me tell you something. There's a lot going on out there. There's a lot of brain up there.
No, he was not intelligent at all.
Oh.
But he understood that he wasn't going to have to serve in the Army.
He was smart enough to know that.
He did that. Yeah, he didn't try to force that helmet over his head.
John, Vitello brought me a hat one day. Me and Bino were at Calhoun's like 4 years ago. It literally looked like a bucket hat. It was the biggest hat. Bino put it on, and it went over his eyes like a little kid. And Bino said, Tony must think you're deformed. That's what he said to me off the air. He goes, Tony must think you're like a human oddity. He told Chris Lowe's son, he said, why don't you get me the biggest hat? Obviously, the biggest hat.
Your head is, your head's not as, I have a really big head.
My hat's awesome look. My head looks good bald too. Have you noticed that? Not bad.
It really does. I mean,
it's crazy.
I mean, the expectations are how it would look bald weren't high, but it does look good.
Hey, Matt, anything else for us? You guys were incredible today.
No, we're good. I'm glad we didn't talk about SEC Media Day today because that's the most boring thing in the world.
Oh,
and
shit.
It's news at
John,
the
how glad are you?
Lost
No purpose. It has no purpose. I was laughing today. Who was I? John. John asked somebody, why don't they have an SEC baseball media day and put all those opinionated guys down there, Matt? Can you imagine how much fun that would be? Because that would really be fun.
Start doing that.
And they really, that's something that would really matter because those guys would go back and forth. They would trade barbs with each other.
Yeah, it's just, and it's pretty grueling from a standpoint of staying present and staying. You zone out after about 20 minutes.
I talked to Billy Derrick today, who's been down there all week, because he's real excited about going, I said, Billy, what do you think of it? He goes, to use one of your terms, this is mind-numbing.
Yeah, I think for a young guy in sports media would be super excited to go to media days. You're just around all these people.
Yeah.
You're part of the show, and that's what it has become. It's an SEC network televised event. That's what it is. And but once you get into it, minute by minute, and listen to one coach after another.
The other thing, Matt, that he said that was funny, he goes, Tony, you're right about Heupel. He goes, he doesn't even try, does he, in terms of the media stuff?
No.
I said, no, he doesn't even. I kind of like that about Heupel. He doesn't even pretend to try.
I think Josh Heupel laughs on the inside.
Sure he does.
As he's talking.
Sure he does.
And maybe sometimes in a moment he'll catch himself starting to be kind of glib or say something funny. So, whoa, what am I thinking?
And I tell you the other thing I like about him that's kind of funny, he never worries about like settling scores. And that all that stuff Butch Jones used to do would never even cross Heupel's mind. He's too intelligent to do that. And that's one of the things, we all have a little weakness, Matt. I think it's interesting that Tony's so good at what he does, but yet he's so thin-skinned, Matt. I think one of these days Tony's going to end up like not talking to me. Because I'm going to continue to bust his stones and challenge him on stuff. And when he comes on here, ask him tough questions. And there might come a day where, he just goes, you know what, Tony? It's been 20 years, and, well, you're kind of a dick. And I'm done with you.
Yeah.
That's possible, John, isn't it?
But that's not...
I'll be surprised if it's not sooner than 20 years.
Yeah, and also, Tony, would not be the worst case scenario for a Tony ending.
It'd be funny.
No, but what if he went UFC on you?
Shit, I'd whip his ass.
Well, you've got that heavy bag back there you work on.
Anytime that little Banny Rooster wants to get in the ring with me, and I'm fixing to get in the senior division.
Of what?
Huh?
Of what?
Of life.
Oh.
And I ain't afraid of him.
I thought there was like you're going to be a senior UFC fighter, senior boxer.
AT, if you want to get stretched, you want some of this, I'll stretch you. I'll put you right in the ring.
He's younger than you, Tony.
I don't care what he is.
He's got footwork.
I'll put him in more holds. I wrestled in high school.
Oh, that's right. Those wrestlers, they are hard to beat up.
I know how to keep a base.
They're hard to beat up.
Shit.
Yeah.
All right,
he might smother you with that hat.
If he put that hat on me, buddy, I'd go right to sleep. No question. I'd be in total bliss, John. He put that hat on me. I'd be like this, look. He put that hat right on me.
God, that's a scary look.
Matt, thank you. John, thanks. Peace. I want to thank my friends at TLD Logistics. They're online at tldlogistics.com. For all your shipping needs, they've got you covered like never before. Shout out to my friends at VIP Play because the Open is upon us. And ladies and germs, great stuff going on over at VIP Play around the Open, which is very interesting. Couple of my friends got up at 4:45 this morning to watch the first Premier Group tee off. Yes, that is real. Yes, that is a real thing. VIP has released lines for all 12 Tennessee football games for the upcoming year. They're the only sports book in the state of Tennessee that's done that. You can get a line. You can bet on any Tennessee game. You can go to VIP Play right now and do just that. Remember, 200 leagues, live always, numerous bet types, props, options. If you have a bet in mind, the VIP team, including the great Robert Killer Kowalski, will create it. If it's compliant event and compliant bet type in the state of Tennessee, perhaps if Tony and I get in the ring for charity, maybe we'd be able to get you some odds on that. I don't know, but I'm not afraid of that.
I'd be concerned for your health.
Shit, you ought to be concerned for his health. And by the way, if you have a gambling problem, 800-889-9789, 21 and over, located in the great state of Tennessee to place a bet. We thank you. We love you. G to the B to the O. And how about it, Bino? Peace. I got a little pep in my step. I got a little spring in my stride. I got a song in my heart. Feeling pretty darn good. Feeling groovy, as they say in the trade. Who did Feeling Groovy, John? Was that Paul Simon? Simon and Garfunkel? Dun-dun, you move too fast.
It sounds like it could have been the Lovin' Spoon.
Lovin' Spoonful.
Herman's
Hermit. You gotta make the good parts last. John Adams is in the studio with the Living Vol fan. And Matt Dixon, why would your fearless host